CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
追剧追成兄弟。申办 Hi Netflix 方案 ，HiNet 招待你看1年 Netflix， 一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。Hi Netflix。
等等，你做到下一集了，哦，人家等一下才要看啦。不会了，这集好好看哦。
母女追剧追成姐妹，申办 Hi Netflix 方案，HiNet 招待你看1年 Netflix， 一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。Hi Netflix。
From zero to hero, Akshon swings into action from the lawless streets of Shurima. Trained by his sentinel mentor, he's an assassin that rails down opponents from a distance with flashy precision.
Once they see me, it is too late for forgiveness.
It's not all fun and games roaming across Summoner's Rift. This suave rule breaker is on a mission for vengeance.
You know you had that coming, right?
So scoundrels beware. Welcome to the Akshon Champion Spotlight. Akshon's passive is Dirty Fighting. Every third hit from his auto attacks or abilities deals additional damage. When fighting against enemy champions, Akshon also gains a shield for a few seconds. After an auto attack, Akshon will fire an additional shot. He can also cancel that shot to gain movement speed instead.
Coming through!
Akshon's Q throws out his Avengerang, damaging and revealing enemies from their hiding spots. If it collides with enemy champions, he gains movement speed for a brief duration. Each time an enemy is hit, the Avengerang's range is extended farther. How does it come back again? Akshon's W is Going Rogue. His passive marks scoundrels, enemy champions who have killed Akshon's allies. If he takes down a scoundrel, he gains gold and resurrects the fallen allies. Activating Going Rogue lets Akshon camouflage himself briefly when there are no enemies around. When moving near a wall or in brush, he can hide indefinitely. While camouflaged, he gains increased mana regen and movement speed toward scoundrels.
Knock knock! Vengeance calling!
And this is the part where they run away. Get around the rift in style with Heroic Swing. Akshon fires a grappling hook that attaches to the first wall hit and swings around it. To get the most distance out of your E, grapple from max range. Akshon then dives off the rope and fires a final, powerful attack. If he collides with an enemy champion or terrain before landing, he attacks automatically instead. Enemy takedowns refresh Heroic Swing's cooldown, granting him opportunities for Reset City. While he's able to sweep around, Akshon cannot swing or dive over walls, so try not to crash.
Oh, come now!
Akshon's ultimate is Comeuppance. Locking onto an enemy champion, Akshon charges his gun the Absolver and stores up bullets for a massive attack. Recast to unleash a barrage of bullets onto the first target, with damage scaling based on missing health.
That was quite satisfying.
Not one to be locked down, Akshon can move around and Heroic Swing while charging Comeuppance.
Oh, so exciting!
But watch where you aim. Bullets can be blocked by minions and towers. A troublemaker by trade, Akshon shines early with his ability to efficiently roam and stir up the map. Try to catch the enemy team off guard before they even have a chance to react. Ouch, talk about a mid-diff. Going Rogue combines the strongest parts of your assassination talents. If an enemy thinks they can get away with the kill, capitalize on the scoundrel mechanic and pick them off after the fight. It's way easier for you to pick off foes than engage in 1v1s, so stick close to your allies for clutch revival plays. His name is Akshon. You killed his allies. Prepare to die.
Consider yourself absolved.
Akshon prefers picking off foes from a distance, so you'd be wise to evade champions that get up close and personal. Even a well-timed grappling hook might not be enough to escape. Your team may not always make the best choices, but luckily Akshon thrives when he can swing in and avenge his fallen allies. If a team fight goes sideways, keep your eye on the enemy-marked scoundrel with the highest kill count. Find an opening and grapple in for the takedown.
There we go. Get in, avenge fallen ally, get out.
With the scoundrel defeated and your team revived, secure a victory on the enemy nexus.
Haha, the thrill of going where you're not supposed to.
Vengeance never looked so good. Discover more about the Rogue Sentinel in the links below.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
哎，宝贝，我等来啊。
好的。喜欢新的回家模式吗？
妈妈来家里吃饭。
嗨，多好，要煮饭啊！哎，宝贝，我要去吃饭。
好的。
8种情境任你切换，属于台湾人的智慧音箱，i 宝贝。
哎，这下
永远走在最前面，中华电信。
等等，你真的下机了？哦，人家等一下才要看啦。不会了，这集好好看哦。
母女追剧，追成姐妹，申办 High Netflix 方案，High Net 招待你看1年 Netflix，一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。High Netflix。
You still there, friend? So, in Ionia, the Sentinels met a spiritual leader who was struggling against the curse of ruination. She told a story of love and sacrifice and blah 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 blah. All lies. But she did reveal one truth. Isolde's spirit lived inside Senna and Gwen. But then the forest itself turned to ruin and seized another artifact for Viego. The team survived with a little help from a deadly blade dancer. And she joined the cause, hoping to restore her land. Together, they reached Mount Targon. Very tall, perfect for grappling hooks. A warrior with a crescent blade and shimmering armor guided the team to the summit. There, they found Viego battling a god. How do you defeat one of those? Well, if you're a scoundrel, you take control of their mind. Haha, but the Sentinels had enlisted a god of their own, so to speak, and served up just desserts. Of course, sneaky Viego escaped with another item. He is very good at that. Huh. Now where will he turn up next?
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
追剧追成兄弟，申办 Hi Netflix 方案 ，HiNet 招待你看1年 Netflix，一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。Hi Netflix。
哎，宝贝，我等来了。
好的。喜欢新的回家模式吗？
爸妈来家里吃饭。
嗨，多好要做饭啊！哎，宝贝，我要去吃饭。
好的。
8种情境任你切换，属于台湾人的智慧音箱，i 宝贝。
哎，这下
永远走在最前面，中华电信。
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
追剧追成兄弟，申办 Hi Netflix 方案 ，Hi Net 招待你看1年 Netflix，一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。Hi Netflix。
等等，你真的下一集了？哦，人家等一下才要看啦。不会了，这集好好看哦。
母女追剧追成姐妹，申办 Hi Netflix 方案 ，Hi Net 招待你看1年 Netflix，一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。Hi Netflix。
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
等等，你真的下一集了？哦，人家等一下才要看啦。不会了，这集好好看哦。
母女追剧，追成姐妹，申办 High Netflix 方案，HiNet招待你看1年 Netflix，一家多装置追剧，就算生活不同步，心也能同步。High Netflix。
哎，宝贝，我等来啊。
好的。喜欢新的回家模式吗？
妈妈来家里吃饭。
嗨，多后背做饭啊。哎，宝贝，我要去吃饭。
好的。
8种情境任你切换，属于台湾人的智慧音箱，i 宝贝。
哎，这下
永远走在最前面，中华电信。
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Pacific Championship Series. And if you're wondering why we are on broadcast today, we still have some very important business to settle. Regular season ended yesterday, but today we still have 3 tiebreakers to go, and only 3 teams have actually clinched their playoff seeding, so a lot can still be decided here. I'm going to be your host and play-by-play for the day, Clement Chu, and with me is the ever so fabulous Nightstar. I am changing my adjective, so please give me credit for that. And before we go into the meat of the tiebreakers, a big thank you to our sponsors for making all of this possible: CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom, and our newest addition in Caliber. Of course, our organizers at Riot Games, Karina and Carry Live. You guys deserve a ton of credit too for putting this all together. Now we go into the tiebreakers. 3 matches to decide it all between the 8th place, who's actually going to make it into playoffs, the 4th place, and also who gets the 2nd seed at the top of the bracket.
Yeah, 2 of these are going to be really, really important. Of course, the first one determines who actually makes it into playoffs, and the last one of the day is going to be determine who actually gets that first round bye. However, the one in between, we might see a little bit of smoke and mirrors, perhaps, since these are going to be 2 teams that are going to be playing each other in the first round.
Yeah, that's a very interesting to note. We will be going through the standings once again. PSG Talon, of course, flawless split. Congratulations to them. The teams that are in question about playing tiebreakers today are the 2nd place Machi Esports and Megabank Beyond Gaming. Even though Machi is listed above them, Megabank Beyond Gaming actually holds the 2-0 in terms of the head-to-head. And then we have Boom Esports and Taipei J Team, which are going to be playing for 4th place. Very important for them. It's more about side selection rather than skipping around. So like you said, the last one of the day between Machi and Megabank is probably a little bit more hyped up. And the last one, in the terms of the standings, is who actually makes it into the postseason. Impunity Esports and Liab currently at 9th and 8th. They have to figure out who's actually going to be moving on and keeping their world streams alive.
World streams are going to be pretty far off, but to even think about that, you do have to crack into
it starts
playoffs.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. So, and even then, you're going to be starting in the lower bracket. So it's a very tough climb regardless. But to dive into this first matchup, of course, it's just 2 very different teams, I feel, as far as trajectory goes. Impunity definitely on the downslide as of late, and it feels like they just keep on finding a new low. Whereas on the flip side, Liab, they've been slowly grinding their way back up, and they've even been pretty successful at contesting a lot of these mid-upper pack teams as well.
Well, we will see as the team from Singapore finds their positions here. Top King, Korean Import, Epic, Moon Black, Bareku, and Kralix. We did have the bot lane come in on week 5, so very late addition to the squad. I think it's hard to say. I think the players show potential, but the swap itself is a little bit worrisome to see such a late change in the split, and unfortunately they haven't been able to impact the standings as you mentioned. Impunity are on a bit of a slide, 5-loss streak so far. This is their final chance to redeem their season.
Bareku, I would say the substitution is more of a draft difference rather than a gameplay difference. His 3 games so far has been 2 on Seraphine and 1 on Ashe, so putting more emphasis on utility bot laners rather than a lot of what we saw from Blaze, which were the Philios, the Varus, the Jinx. So a lot more carry focused when it came to his champion selection. We'll see if it remains the same as far as the theme goes when it comes to this last game. But over on the flip side, we do have Liab Esports on the up and up. They are Kanji, Dodoy, Xyliath, Dawn, and Aiden. This bot lane matchup, Dawn, he's been a lot more aggressive, and he does like playing those carry champions. And one champion that I hope doesn't go into his hands would be that Ziggs, because yesterday's Ziggs, while they did win, I'm going to say I wasn't enthused by it.
Yeah, they had a bit of a rough time there, just being completely bullied out by Alpha Esports bot lane, and they couldn't go back to their own lane past level 4. So definitely not the strongest laning part of Liab. I think we can say that for sure. It looks like the team is still having fun though, having a laugh here and there. I will say for this team is that they have a great sense of when to go all in team fights. They will just rush at you, full steam ahead, and that is kind of their strongest point on the map. On the other hand, I think for Impunity, they're very creative in terms of their draft. They have a lot of wonky picks, and we're going to be taking a look at the head-to-head between the two junglers for his Trundle pick. And on the other hand, you have Dodoy with his winning Diana and Olaf.
And this is the matchup here for today. It has to be how Epic deals with Dodoy in this jungle head-to-head, because Dodoy, he's really been climbing up the ladder as of late. His performances just keep getting better, and part of it is the fact that his team's really starting to help facilitate his early aggression. When he goes in for invades, his team is there to back him up now, instead of before where he would kind of go on these adventures and he was on a solo adventure, to say the least. Whereas on the flip side for Epic, he's been playing a lot for the team. His routine is he goes, clears his camps, hits level 3, and walks mid, gets Moonblack his reset so he doesn't lose lane too hard.
That is unfortunately quite true. You know, looking at the stats, there is actually a marked difference between the two junglers here. Dodoy actually holding his team quite strong at 56% of the first blood rate, while on Impunity side, they're much lower, and they actually have the lowest jungle control out of any team in the PCS. So you definitely see Epic as more about holding the hands of Impunity. And again, we are going to see a utility jungle come out here. The Volibear getting locked in, while also taking away Xyliath's LeBlanc and Dodoy's Diana. We have talked about just the winning champions from Dodoy, and they're pretty much all gone.
Yeah, those are the really big champions, as Impunity also lock in the first pick Volibear. His Volibear has been really insane, and means that he won't get that into his hands. Over on the flip side, Kanji, he's locked in the Varus for Dawn here. I think this is a really nice pickup because it allows you to play safe, allows you to play slow in that bot lane, also allows your support to roam if need be, and they go ahead, follow up with the Renekton. So decent early game here, early mid game power coming in from Liab, and that's really where they want to hit. That's kind of just how they play. They play more for that mid game than a lot of these other teams, especially Impunity, who tend to draft more late games, such as that Azir.
Yeah, early game's not really the friend of Impunity. They like to go into the late game. They actually have a pretty decent mid to late game rating. A lot of people might not know this, but their mid to late game rating is actually even better than JT, which is kind of mind-boggling to me, but it's statistically true. So, you know, this is a team that definitely wants to take things a little bit slower. I think they have a lot of coordination when it actually goes there. The main hurdle is still the laning phase for them. On the other hand, Liab going with a very aggressive early game. The classic tower dive combo coming out here, and just a small thing to point out, but Xyliath and Kanji both can play this Renekton. In terms of the bans, they are taking away Kalista, just making sure they cover all of their bases in terms of that bot lane laning phase. We don't really know what Bareku plays outside the Seraphine, so just to make sure that Varus isn't going to have a hard time, they're going to take that away.
I would assume they also go ahead and ban away the Ashe pick, which is a pick that can definitely pick on that bottom lane, but it does look like they're going to turn their attention over to top lane, take away his Jace. Could mean that they want to send this Renekton top side. However, based on the matchups, you can definitely move this Renekton either to mid or top, and some of the differences in playstyles can kind of fluctuate based on that. If you throw it into the mid lane, you're looking at a more PSG playstyle where you're playing for your jungler very hard. You're trying to get as much of that invade power as possible, being able to get control of both crabs and just make sure you suffocate the jungle role over on the other side. And it looks like it's going to be a Braum pick for Aiden, trying to be as defensive as possible. And it really does feel like this is going to be a Renekton top to just hard force top side.
Yeah, it could be for sure. On the other hand, we will have Bareku going back to his utility champions like you mentioned. And now's the big question, because between these two teams, they are 1-1 in the head-to-head matchup. And the big breakdown point has been that top lane. Whoever has gotten counterpick in this top side has gone on to win the game and have a very strong performance compared to the opposition. And we're going to get a great blind pick here in the Tahm Kench from Top King. Last time around, when he got the counter, he went 7 kills, 7, 2, and 3 on the Lucian. And
they had it red. They had it red. You could see TG. He was just like giving high fives all around, and it looks like they completely called this pick, and they go for an R5 Trundle pick, which is actually just brilliant here in the head-to-head matchup because of how much power it has just in the draft, and not just that Tahm Kench matchup. You look at the Volibear, if he jumps in, he's going to lose all his stats. If Kralix ever goes for an aggressive hook prematurely, he's going to lose all his stats too after he procs Aftershock. So this is actually just such a great draft coming in from Liab, and I definitely give them a lot of advantages going into game.
Yeah, you have to give massive credit to TG right there. You know, so happy going across the board. He knew this was coming. That was the big question in this matchup. Was Kanji going to come out ahead, or was Top King going to come out ahead? And how do you deal with a big stat stick that wants to 1v1 you? You go for an even bigger stick, and that stick happens to be Trundle. So, really interesting matchup here on the top side. We haven't seen this matchup specifically, but given Trundle's reputation as a tank killer, it should go in favor of Kanji.
And this is also a pick that just like not only murders tanks, it's so annoying to deal with depending on what kind of build he ends up going for. Most likely it's going to be like a Divine Sunder into a full tank. But we've seen some wilder builds before. In way back in the past, there was the Blade of Ruined King sort of build to deal with Mundo, to try and just whittle him down in the 1v1, and that definitely could be a possibility here if you just want to side lane non-stop, but not exactly Liab's playstyle. We'll see what this build adaptation will be, but so far it's looking very comfortable, and it's going to come down to, for the side of Impunity, something that we've seen occasionally but not consistently, and that is it's going to be Moonblack that has to carry the damage load.
Yeah, Moonblack does love his Azir, has been his go-to champion after that Heimerdinger is completely banned out. We did have Dawn with the full wheel of crying emotes. We're going to be taking a look at the runes here. Very peculiar. We are going to get Epic with the Predator and Top King with the Ignite. Walk me through this. What are they trying to do here?
Top King just trying to make sure he has those extra battle stats, especially once Kanji pops that Subjugate. The Ignite's going to help combat some of that healing coming out from that ultimate, and Epic with this Predator. He's going to be playing essentially Trundle, but in a different form. He's going to try and run lane to lane, run up and down the river, and try and non-stop gank these lanes.
All right, we'll see if those ganks go successful, as Liab does start off on the bottom side of the map. Perhaps to be expected, as we have highlighted, probably the most important matchup here is going to be the top side. On the other hand, Impunity is going to do the same. However, they do not leash, so it should be expected. And a little bit of a lane push here. You know, we've talked about the individual lanes and the matchups, but I do want to go over these comps again and kind of figure out their win conditions here. What do you see as Impunity's sort of formula to taking down this tiebreaker?
Usually you would say that with a top jungle duo of Tahm Kench and Volibear, you're looking to try and just scrap early on before the other side gets items, because you just have better stats, raw stats. However, in this case, against a Trundle Nidalee, they've got a lot of damage and a lot of damage neutralization as well. Of course, the Q coming in from Kanji is going to reduce the auto attack damage or just strip away AD, so you're just naturally doing a lot less damage than what you might expect. So it really just comes down to making sure you get Moonblack off to a good start, get him his 1 or 2 items, and then you put yourself in a position that you can really start to take these 3v3s or more like 5v5 setups. But they do have to be careful because, again, their damage drop-off is pretty immense.
Okay, we'll see how Impunity can make it through this. You know, relying on Moonblack to carry you in the late game, it's probably not the way that we have seen Impunity win most of their games. They are much more reliant on Top King, sort of a solo carrying them at times. So we'll see if that plan does work out here. In the meantime, Dodoy is going to find Epic in the jungle. There will be a scuffle for this scuttle. But since Moonblack is arriving here first, we see him just backing out in the meantime. Level 3 on Krelix as he goes in on level 2, coming in from the Braum. This is not a fight that Liab won. Instant flashes out.
Gonna flash out. Does get some decent return damage, but most of the damage focused onto Aiden is gonna really prevent him from going too aggressive here. As Dodoy, he's gonna get shoved out of his jungle. He's gonna lose this next grab.
We are gonna get a skirmish, but Dodoy doesn't land anything. And on the flip side, Xyliath is able to get out. I don't think the Stormbringer, the E even landed from the volley bear there, so does expend his flash, but keeps himself alive. And importantly for Dodoy, he does manage to split the scuttles.
Yeah, that's actually extremely pivotal for him, just to be able to keep up in that CS department. And another interesting thing is going to be Moonblack taking the Conqueror here, so deciding that he doesn't need either the Airy or the Comet. Of course, it's pretty low range champions that he's dealing with on the flip side in the Trundle, Renekton, and Braum. So just trying to go for, I guess, max damage and sustain. Although if that was the case, I'd would.
Okay. You have to flash him from Krelix. Aiden already lost his earlier on.
So long.
He's just going to take one for the team as he tries to push the wave all the way in. Not going to happen. Impunity with First Blood.
Good First Blood pickup going in for Impunity there. Epic. Just, I mean, it's not really a surprising gank there, although it was a bit surprise for Aiden. They're gonna lose that First Blood. Thankfully, it is an Ashe, so it's not like you're going to get hard hammered, and it does mean that Dodoy, he can look to try and steal a camp here. And does mean hopefully he's able to really snowball himself, but we should be looking for perhaps a little bit more when it comes to trying and get aggressive and find these skirmishes. But because of Moonblack being able to constantly shove in, it's actually helped this jungle matchup quite a bit for Epic.
Yeah, he hasn't really lost that much. 2 camps behind, but since he got the gang down, I think we can call that sort of even. In the meantime, I do like the point that you mentioned that Liab probably need to be accelerating this game a little bit. Impunity, as you identified, their biggest win condition is going to be Moonblack coming in. Xyliath is stunned, but the Sky Splitter again doesn't really land. Krelix hook goes wide, and Xyliath without the flash and Dominus actually survives here. I'm actually really surprised he managed to do that.
Actually able to get out of there. That's going to help out a lot now that he's level 6, gets that extra survivability. But you could definitely see what Impunity were trying to do with that gank, try and take advantage of him not being in 6, but now Kanji's in the mid lane looking for a possible opening.
He's not spotted, but we do have the pings coming down, so they definitely sense that Xyliath's pathing is a little bit weird here, and finally Kanji does make himself known. We do have Volley Bear waiting around the corner. Let's see if Epic wants to do anything about this one. Krelix just going for the straight up hook. They do have the advantage in lane already, going right into it. Ignite goes down, but Krelix actually losing HP a little bit faster. The piercing arrow doesn't land, and Bareku is going to find another kill into this bottom lane. Oh, that was a close one coming in from Krelix, but they get away with it, and that's 2 kills into Bareku's pocket.
And it's really just a target selection there. Dawn unable to get around the Nautilus to actually try and get DPS down onto Tiebreaker, and that means Ashe just continuously fires those frost shots straight into the Braum. So we get to see the replay. Yeah, they're able to get Krelix low, but the miss-piercing arrow means that this kill just goes unreturned, and Dawn can't do anything about it. But up in this top side, I mean, nothing should happen here because it is kind of just like going to be back and forth farm out play style. But because of that, we see Kanji go for a cult, which means he's going to scale a lot faster and get to that mid-game point before this Tahm Kench. And once that first dragon fight comes, or that first Rift Herald fight comes, I think that's going to be the real big deciding point for a lot of how the rest of this game is going to be going tempo-wise.
I do want to point out that Top King just instantly used his TP towards the top. I really like this play from him because it sets his team up in such a strong position for the Herald play. You do have the bottom lane already rotating for Impunity coming into this one. Kanji, he really does not have combat stats at this point, so we'll see how Liab want to respond here, but it seems like they are inching themselves into the fight. They've got everyone here.
They have brought the entire crew over, so it does look like they're interested in contesting, even pulling Dawn over. This is definitely
Black getting a bit of damage, but here goes the arrow as Krowlix does find Xyliath in the front line, but he's a tanky Renekton, and he stays alive for quite a long time. Finally, Mooblack goes into the backline, gets a two-man knockback into the team. Top King gets the Devour, and that's going to be 5-1 right now in favor of Impunity.
Yeah, this was my concern here, was that the bot lane difference is pretty stark. And the fact that you do have a lot more combat stats on this Ashe, more so than the Varus, and because you do end up pulling your bot lane over, you're not looking to funnel farm and plates into your AD carry, and instead you end up throwing yourself into a very dire situation. And that first fight we were talking about, like, that's going to set the pace for this game. It goes in favor of Impunity in pretty dominant fashion, but neither team claimed the Herald, which means we're going to see yet another fight possibly.
Yeah, this time around we do have a lot less summoners on the side of Liab.
And no ult.
Though Impunity is stuck in a pretty awkward position. They have to walk down this ramp if they want to contest. Top King's going in first, misses the Q. And we do have Dodo picking up the Herald. That should be the end of the fight. Let's see if Epic with Predator can't find Xyliath, but the hook goes just a little bit short. And Liab, they do get a great consolation prize, but the question really is at what cost, as we do see Breaker, who did not join the fight here, was solo pushing in the bottom side.
Yeah, and it looks like the side of Impunity, they're like, well, even if they do get the Herald, we already got a bunch of kills the first time around, and we can get a bunch of farm the second time around, and that's what they settle for. Instead of over-investing more resources to try and get yet another fight, they feel comfortable with how much gold they accumulated the first time around. And to be honest, I would be too, because you have a 2k gold advantage now, and in this bottom lane you also have a completed shield bow on this Ashe. This Ashe is definitely online, really to do a solid number when it comes to the next team fight situation, which naturally should be this Dragon, as Dragon is still up even at 11.5 minutes.
Over 2,000 gold advantage, as we can see on the graph here. And it's barely 11 minutes into the game, so a great start coming in from Impunity. And as we've laid out earlier, Liab is the one that should be looking for early advantages here. They don't really have the best of scaling. They have to go up against a Nazir in the late game. Not what you want to see. And I think it's fair to say that overall their composition does lack a bit of damage.
Yeah.
We'll see how they can actually accelerate this pace as they are going up onto Top King. The spear does land. Top King still has that gray health and shield available, so you can still pop the fixed in at any time. It's going to take its sweet time though, and this is a great opportunity for Liab as Xyliath finds some snacks in the river. It looks like
he found a treasure trove there.
Really nice amount of gold. In the meantime, Liab, they know they're making a cross-map play, so they are doing rotations in the bot lane, vacating the bot, and Epic unfortunately doesn't get anything here. First tower is still secured by the Herald, and Liab now rounding down on that gold deficit really quickly. They are going to get a second charge. No one's here.
Yeah, getting 2 here would be massive.
It goes down even. They're going in onto Top King. He gets stunned and just killed. Thick skin not even used. What a great find by Kanji, and then you saw the stun just stopping the abyssal dive from coming out. So Liab overtake the gold lead and also the getaway.
Yeah, and that's just a really nice hold of the stun coming in from Xyliath. If you are the Tahm Kench, you just don't have any play options if the Renekton holds all the cards, because if he tries to use Thick Skin, he gets his shield stripped away by the stun. If he tries to go for the abyssal dive, well, he can't, because that gets interrupted by the stun still. So Xyliath plays that incredibly well. They get themselves 2 towers. That helps recuperate a lot of extra gold because of the fact you have bonus money coming in on tier 2 towers nowadays. It does give you a lot more power when it comes to these 2 turret Rift Herald pushes.
Oh, do see an early teleport here just to contest the Drake as Moonblack does come in. The team hasn't started this one up just yet, and it doesn't look like Liab actually want to contest it, so they will let this one just go. In the meantime, looking at the top side, the gold distribution is very different on the 2 teams. We have a very bottom-heavy Impunity coming in, and on the other side for Liab, both the top and junglers getting to their mythic items first. So, you know, typically in the early game, when I see a top side for bottom side trade, I actually favor the top side, because bruisers, they, you know, with solo EXP, with levels, they can be a lot more impactful than Breaku, but we haven't really seen him in a 5v5 situation just yet. We'll have to keep our eyes close on that one.
Yeah, and
see
we
this
also
Ash
haven't
can make a splash.
We haven't really seen him put in a position where he's able to have an impact as well, because the previous games he was on 2 games of Seraphine where the team never really played around him. The first game, I believe, he was put onto Jinx, or not Jinx, Ash, and I mean the game kind of also ran away from him in that one as well. So this time around, on even gold footing, he's got a lead over his respective laner. This is his best opportunity to show us why he was brought into the roster and what he can do.
A full 5-man stack by Impunity in the mid lane. I've got to say, this is something we've seen multiple times before, where Impunity, if they're not certain, they do play like an NA team and they will just group up together. Didn't really get much done as we see the engage onto Dodoy. He goes down after the flash, just trying to hard face check into that brush. That was interesting. As Impunity successfully get the pick, and they're just going to continue to chase Liab away, now looking at this mid lane tower.
Definitely a strange one there. One of the things when you face an ARAM is, well, don't face check around that ARAM lane, and that's exactly what Dodoy does. He gets picked off here. That's so much gold going into the hands of Epic there, and yes, unfortunately it goes into Epic's hands, but helps him catch up because of just the massive farm gap that Dodoy did have in that matchup. Now down 1,000 gold. It's going to be Liab as they try and set up. Maybe they look for this next dragon to be really aggressive around, as they will have, of course, Cull completed by Kanji, so that's going to be his big power spike. And as you mentioned before, you're going to get a couple more levels on your bruisers, on your solo laners, which is going to be a little bit more impactful than getting more gold onto your AD carry, especially on a utility AD carry such as Ash.
We are going to see another uncontested objective going towards the way of Impunity. It seems like Liab's game plan right now is just to hard farm Kanji, get him as fed as possible. Xyliath with another face check gets brought back by Moonblack and just goes down. Not sure why you would face check that when, you know, Herald just went down. These face checks have been so costly for Liab, and I don't really see any rhyme or reason for them, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit baffling here. Liab, while they've had a pretty solid start when it comes to the farm department, that top half of the map, and also, of course, that draft, unfortunately, they've kind of tossed a couple of those advantages away. And now things are in favor of the side of Impunity when it comes to gold. And they don't exactly have a way to deal with this Azir come late game or even this Ashe, as they just don't have a ton of backline access. It's very much a front-to-back team, and you would have to favor this Impunity side if that's going to be true.
Yeah, if you're talking about objective fights, I don't see how you get on this Ashe on the side of Liab. There really is not a lot of ability. Maybe you could fish for some lucky spears coming in from Godoy, but that seems pretty far-fetched. I was chuckling a bit just then because of how both teams have dropped double pinks, basically at the exact same location. So these are both squads that like to flaunt their bling if they have them. And, you know, they're like, one pink ain't really enough. We're gonna drop 2 pinks. So it's kind of funny to see both sides doing that. That used to be a Hong Kong attitude special, by the way, because they were known as kind of like the high salary cap team.
I would say that the double pinks or the double control wards is definitely a symptom of perhaps the pressure sort of mounting, you know, communication, or even you could say some of these face checks just, you know, not paying attention enough to either the minimap or even just the announcer.
We do have the flash in from Don. They will catch out Moonblack, but Aiden will go down first. Great play there, and Stormbringer goes on, disabling the tower. Xylath goes in for a massive 4-man Ruthless Predator. That's not going to really heal him up enough to survive.
Yeah,
not even with the War Drinker is he going to live. Oh, but Kanji gets the full 6-second filler onto Top King. Top King without the flash got nowhere to go. Will go down. Krelix with another great hook, but Kanji with a flash is going to get out there. At the end of the day, it will be a 1-for-3 trade plus the mid lane tower. Massive advantage going over to Impunity.
Massive win coming in for the Impunity side as Dawn, he flashes forward, goes for the ult, and unfortunately he didn't press tab, didn't know that Moonblack already had a stopwatch available to him. Moonblack with a very intelligent buy, knowing that the next fight is going to be very critical, and then we get to see Top King pinned to a wall, stuck between filth and a hard place. Truly tragic. However, the consequence was because the subjugate was used onto the Tahm Kench. When he got hooked again, he didn't have the subjugate to...
Oh, do have TP coming in here. Moonblack's going to be a little bit slow, really, but the arrow will find its mark. Moonblack once again going over for the Shurima dive is going to get gone. Not even the score, just getting gone the whole way. And then Godoy tries to fly in for the battery engage. They will get Krelix in the very end, but no, it actually flashes out. Top King even goes in for a little bit more, and Godoy and Xylath are on the wrong side of the map. Impunity just completely decimating Liab in this fight. Double kill over to Moonblack. This Azir is really showing up huge here, and we have another Abyssal dive. Top King does go down, but it does take Xylath with him, and that's the triple plus the depth charge. Godoy does get over the wall, though.
Okay. Yeah, barely makes it out there. And yet another big team fight win coming in for the Impunity side. And this time around, they also make it out with very low health bars. But you can see here, like, this is what Moonblack is good at. He's good at making calls, making the faster rotation over to the play. And Liab, they're just getting a little bit greedy, trying to claim all this side lane farm. But because of that, their mid lane just ends up encroaching way too far up the river. They get punished hard for that play, and everything's just falling apart for the side of Liab.
Really well done by Impunity. That pull into the choke on the right side of mid lane, absolutely beautiful. 2 Sand Soldiers and nothing can chase them down. And I feel like that's the problem that we've highlighted with this Liab composition. They are much more of an early game tempo composition, and they did not have a lead in the early game whatsoever. You know, I think it's fair to say that even though Top King, his scoreline isn't pretty, I felt like that teleport early onto Herald was just so critical for them to get themselves into this position, and Impunity really showing that they can carry beyond the top lane. They've got multiple carries in different positions as Krelix is going to come across the wall. Great coordination. They are going to find Aiden. But meanwhile, in the backline, Dawn with a chains of corruption. This fight might be turning around as Krelix goes down. Moonblack finally gets onto the spot. He's trying to fight his way over towards the ramp, but gets caught, and he will die. Both solo laners being destroyed by Dawn. Breaku now on the run. He gets slowed down by the Winter's Wrath. Kanji is coming back in. Aiden will stay alive. The spear goes wide, but Xyliath is in. He falls down at the very end. Breaku goes unstoppable before finally dropping down. Impunity, it looked so good, but they just chased a little bit too far.
They chase too far. They end up overextending way too much there. And yes, while Breaku is able to get one, unfortunately unable to finish the job, get out of there in time because, well, it's definitely well worth it. But now Epic's still hanging around.
Predator Epic, he's coming in, and he does get the Baron restart. He didn't have flash, he didn't have ultimate, but Liab back up anyway. Oh,
they just didn't have the health bars to continue with that. And I initially thought this was going to be a really good pick here, but it is still a Braum, and he does have a lot of innate tankiness during the time he does have the door up, and he soaks up so much damage. And where you look at the positioning, Breaku, Epic, they're zoned off from the rest of the fight. They're able to just collapse onto the Zir from that angle. Now Breaku, yes, he trades out one, but you're more than happy to trade 1-for-1 in this small situation because of the fact that you get 700 gold onto your AD carry.
Yeah, that was a very awkward fight for Impunity. They had tanks on the top side, and then their carries completely exposed on the bottom side. So it's a little bit unfortunate. I felt like if they chose a bit better terrain, they wouldn't have gone to that. But in the meantime, Epic, with an epic save, does stop Liab from just snowballing onto the Baron, and they still have the Azir. So, you know, definitely Impunity can still come back from this situation. Meanwhile, Kanji is split pushing on the bot. Ooh, like you mentioned, the ward is there. Impunity do know about it, but they actually repositioned their pink, so unable to clear it out in time as we see Krelix going in once more, but it doesn't seem like the rest of the team is just here to follow. Once again, they're fighting on the ramp, and Krelix is going down incredibly low. Xyliath does find the stun into the back line. Moonblack is out of the fight already. Top King goes down, and Liab continued to chase through. The Ashe is dead. Moonblack is getting chased by Kanji. Triple kill for the Trundle, and Epic is the last one to carry Impunity's playoffs hopes. He goes down as well. That is going to be an ace for only Xyliath. Once again, Impunity on the same spot, make the same mistake.
And Xyliath, he turns himself into an absolute martyr. 1-6-10, yes, but the impact he's had in these fights, putting a lot of pressure, burning very key cooldowns as well. We're going to see the replay here. Once again, it's this Braum that baits him in. They land the hook onto him, but he's just the juicy target to hook, line, and sinker the side of Impunity. Xyliath gets very good ruthless predator there, but then Breaku on the Ashe, no mobility. The moment he steps too far forward, Kanji with the pillar throws it down, and he's trapped. And yeah, nowhere to go. That's going to be a huge swing in gold and a huge swing in momentum for the side of Liab, because now they've claimed that third dragon, or the second for themselves, but third overall, and they also have a Baron buff to work with.
It's so depressing to see this from Impunity. I don't know why they hate Aiden so much. Like, they just want him dead at all costs. It's like, the thing is, Impunity's composition, if they hold their ground, they're great, but they're not exactly the best chasing team composition. And to chase through a choke like that was just so weird to see. Krelix, oh my god, Krelix, please, keep it together. Krelix, keep it together. You guys still have a shot. You still have Moonblack, but oh, it's
yeah. However, Clement, we haven't taken a look at builds in a while, and
yeah,
that's definitely a thing to look at. One of them being, well, Prelix. He doesn't have Mythic, and he has a stopwatch. So, or not a stopwatch, but a Zhonya's Hourglass, which means he wants to continue going for these aggressive plays. And it's a little strange because, again, when you have a Zhonya's, you could just go for something like the Locket to provide more overall team fight power to your squad. I don't really like this build, Clement. I don't know how you feel.
What I think is happening is that Impunity, they think they have a massive teamfight edge, but if you actually look at their front line, they're not really that tanky. Epic is not going Aftershock. So Top King's the only target that you have to subjugate. And then Kralix is actually made of paper. So
yeah,
I feel like they vastly True. I feel like they've just vastly overestimated how long their front line can stay in the fight. Like that's the only reason that I have for them forcing the team fight up choke points like that. It's just not the case. Like Trundle does very well at chewing through them, and Epic just actually isn't tanky. He's not a tanky bear right there. He's not really a tank. He's just a stun bot.
Yeah, right now Epic, I mean, the Aftershock's not a real big deal because usually you would go like press the attack regardless in the jungle. So you're not going super defensive when it comes to your Keystone. But the fact that his two items are Divine Sunder and the Athenema's Chains, he's just a big health bot. Very similar to, well, Thomas Kench. And then also at the moment, like your Nautilus doesn't have a whole lot of stats to him. He's got an Hourglass. That doesn't provide a ton of defensive stats. All it does is give you pseudo tank stats because you're in stasis, but then they just turn their attention onto a different target.
Yeah, this is... I honestly felt like, Impunity were running away with the game at one point. They were up, 2,000 gold before 12 minutes, and it was up to, I think, about 3,000 after their winning fight in the mid lane where, they found a 3-for-1 trade in their favor. I thought it was going to be over really soon because you look at the side of Liab, these are not champions that scale particularly well. Like Lethality, Varus, and then you have Trundle, who's... I don't think Trundle's actually a great team fighter. Like he's pretty easy to kite into team fight. Like going against Azir, Ashe is not what you want to do as a Trundle. Yeah, it's very difficult to fight a front to back on Liab's side, but they managed to do it, and I color me pretty impressed. I think Xyliath in these teamfights has actually been pulling a lot of his weight. Usually you see Renekton's just not being able to pull their weight when it comes to like post 25 minutes in teamfights. They're not really that tanky or deal that much damage compared to other mid laners, but in all of these teamfights I think he's traded really well and always made sure to at least take Moonblack out of the fight.
And the big part here is just the fact that, well...
He goes back. Oh, here we have another attempt as this time this is a much better target and they just kill Dawn instantly. Good find.
Yeah, very good find. I was going to say this point in time because of the fact that they do have, or they did have the Baron buff, it allows them to just continue to push their advantages because of the side lane pressure that they have with this composition. However, with Dawn going down there, it means that they kind of have to reset here. They were looking to do so anyways, but they're going to have to reset just a little bit faster because they want to try and salvage this mid lane.
Yeah, I don't think Liab are going to be in time. Only Aiden to witness the murdering of these tier 2 tower here. Liab kind of caught with their pants down as they were trying to go for a 2-man pickoff on the bottom side, while Dawn was the actual target here. So they're a little bit slow to rotate, and Impunity are still sticking within 3,000 gold as Relix finds Aiden once again in a ramp. Not where you want to be, as we have Kanji and Xyliath coming to close the bottleneck on the other side. Already 2 members down, a third dies, and I'm getting deja vu. I feel like I've seen this play happen multiple times, and it has never favored Impunity.
Krillix, please.
Breaku trying to get away. He still does have the arrow, but Dodoy does find him. He has the red buff. Can he kite this one out? Finally, he forces Dodoy into the stasis. Is going to be able to get away. He dodges the trap on the ground. Good situational awareness. I would have stepped on that 100% and just died. But Liab do force very late recalls, and they're going to be opening up the base.
And with Kanji's positioning, with how much damage he does as this Trundle, he just destroys towers. They're going to be able to get that inhib. They're going to be able to get this mid inhib as well. Oh, okay, actually not the mid inhib. A little bit tragic there. Not going to lie.
That's okay, it's okay.
With only one set of super minions.
Oh no, don't show me this again.
Well,
no.
Yeah, we all know why they lost this fight. It's because they went for Braum. That's really all we need to know. They got stuck in a choke. They dumped all their cooldowns onto a Braum, and what do you know? Baited once more. And for the side of Liab, like, the big consequence of not taking that second inhib is the fact that Impunity can deal with just one lane of supers very, very easily. They have the Zero turret, they have a Zero damage, as you can see. He's going to be able to shred these super minions relatively quickly. He even goes ahead, teleports straight back mid to try and deal with this mid lane shove.
They are setting up a potential catch here. Moonblack was spotted though, so we'll see if this actually catches Liab out by surprise. Very interesting ward in the mid lane. You can see on the top side, so they probably did catch Moonblack going into the cubby. Now it is the Death Rush coming in from Liab. They will get hawk-shotted. This is actually pretty open terrain, so maybe things will change as Impunity do decide to take the fight. The Chains of Corruption lands onto 4. Topkin goes for the backline, but Krellix is instantly killed, and Topkin is in the middle of nowhere. Breaku has Kanji right on top of him. He can't kite this one. Flash in from Kanji. Breaku's gonna go down, and that's all the damage that is left. Moonblack standing his ground, but Don flashes in with the kill. That's gonna be a triple.
They're just gonna run down mid.
Their dreams and hopes are getting crushed. 40 seconds respawn timers. Liab march into the base.
I think they can do it. They've got minions coming in straight mid. One of them is a cannon minion. So if Kanji tanks up this tower, he only needs to tank up one here. They're going to be able to just end the game. This is it. Liab, make it into playoffs.
Impunity, they were the 6th seed in spring, but this time around, all eyes on Liab. They make it all the way into playoffs. The team that was in the bottom of the standings in spring now finds themselves into postseason and keeps their dreams alive at going to Worlds. I am not kidding. This is where it starts. If you believe in the Filipino success story, you have to keep your eyes on this team.
Oh my god. I am so proud of this team. They went 0-9 in the first round robin. This was a team that didn't find its first win until so late in the season, and they managed to climb their way back. They found 4 wins, 4 out of 9 in that second half. They make it to tiebreak, and they managed to win the tiebreak. Liab, what a story.
It really is.
I don't have all the words to describe how proud I am of the boys.
Honestly, the only question is, did you believe? That's all I want to say. You know, did you believe him? We saw the improvements right from the start of the split. Once they started Kanji over Speltz, I felt like Liab were on a completely different level. And you could see even through the first round, they were improving, they were getting better. Their laning phase was a tremendous difference. We talked about this in the first round, that their laning phase actually got a 4,000 gold improvement compared to their own selves in spring split. That's so insane, but and that also goes to show you how bad they were in spring, but that's also true. But you know, they had a massive overhaul to the way they played, and they really allowed themselves to shine when it came to those team fights. They never backed out. Like, this is not a team that ever plays scare, and just keeping that spirit together. and developing their laning phase, I think it finally got them to the point where they could overcome their obstacles, and finally we have Liab and the Philippines in the postseason.
Yeah, big congrats go out to them. They just improved so much. Even in that first half of the split, I believe they were probably one of our better early game teams, even compared to some of the bigger names, right? Your Machis, your J teams, especially J team. Let's just say their early game has definitely slowed down quite a bit. So I'm not even surprised. Like, Liab were finally able to put all the pieces together to scrape those 4 wins to make it into tiebreak, because when you have repeated early game leads, you will eventually find a way to carry them through the rest of the game. You will figure out a way to cash in. Whereas over on the flip side, like Impunity, it was a much different issue, right? They were constantly behind early game. They had to constantly dig themselves out of holes, and that's just mentally just such a much bigger struggle.
Yeah, we did talk about Impunity's struggles throughout the split. It mainly did come down to the pre-15 minutes. They're still statistically the worst early game team in the PCS, and that really took a huge chunk out of their playmaking ability. I feel like Epic was the one that was most impacted, because he had to give up a ton of his jungle just to keep his lanes alive. I was unfortunate the reality of the situation. Like, I think you can criticize Epic himself for not really being able to be a huge impact factor, but at the same time, it's pretty evident that he had to sink a lot of his late game in to sort of plaster over the early game. And this is unfortunately one of those games where I felt like Impunity had a very high chance of taking down. If you look at the early game, they were doing completely fine, but then it was those super forced team fights up ramps again and again and again that just spelled doom for this team. You're going into a late game where Bareku was about to carry. He was on an item lead over Dawn, where Moonblack was doing great stuff on the Azir, but then the team fights just fell apart. And congratulations to Dodoy. I think he is the spirit, the heart of the Liab squad, and a very well-deserved MVP here at 7-1 and 12.
Very well done. He had 95% kill participation, and this is also a Liab team that they have overall very high kill participation because of the fact that they end up grouping up more often than not to find these team plays rather than the individual plays. But the change has been immense. They've started to play a lot around Dodoy, and yes, he had that mishap around that mid lane, but that was the only blip. As you can see, he only had 1 death.
In the final team fight, he also chased down Bareku very easily. So, unfortunate way to end the split for Impunity. I felt like they were going through a lot of different changes, trying to incorporate Moonblack and Epic, and at the end of the split, also trying out a new bottom lane. So, hopefully they will make it back into the PCS, and they will show us a much more stronger and a much more coherent team coming into 2022. But this will be the end of their journey so far. On the flip side, congratulations again to Liab for making it to the postseason. That, it's a long way out, but it does open their chances to Worlds. I'm just putting that out there. It's 1 in a million, but it's possible. So congratulations to Liab for achieving that. Don't go anywhere, guys, as we will be coming up with the second tiebreaker of the day, coming up between J Team and Boom Esports for 4th place.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
definitely a lot of attention being focused bottom. Speaking of, K-Babe is actually here. And they found Koala. There's the stun off. Do they have enough to go for the dive, though? Mega Inferno Bomb and even the teleport coming through. Looking for the Stormbringer. K-Babe on top of Atlan, looking for it. Cannot find the kill. The stun lock comes in. And now Gemini into the backline he goes. Followed up by Lee Kai. Vanguard's edge, and Lee Kai just opens up as they shred through Alpha Esports. Only 3Z remaining. The triple kill coming in for the Aurelia. Lee Kai wants to make it a quadra. And he can't quite do it. It's stolen away by Scumbag. I think they'll be able to do it at this point. J-Team just got into a rhythm. Very comfortable one for themselves. Last-ditch effort by Arachi going in. Look at the kickback on Rest, just deleting the backline. This
it's 1 for 1.
Is an absolute monster. Ozzy comes in on the teleport backline, but he's got no team left.
They don't have the damage at this point. Machi are dealing far more. And Eminem walking into
no.
Gemini.
Oh no! That was a terrible blast cone.
Very questionable on that one. G-Mian's also holding Hong Kong attitude to this tower here. I don't think they can make the retreat. Here comes the kills.
Oh, big one. This time it is going to be enough as Gemini goes golden before the tower can target him. Shelly even hops before the fight even happens. Kongye can't even clean up Gemini, and it is all Machi.
Impunity get their way. I think they're going to run away with this game, and frankly, I do favor their draft just a little bit. On Boom Esports side, we have a bit of shenanigans coming in. The Ruby mid lane Ezreal has only been played once before.
Okay, he's got a shift and a flash, and that was epic! Not enough to escape as Epic gets the first blood. You know?
I'm down.
Yeah, let's do it. If this whole casting thing doesn't work out, we'll just start a financial institution, all right? All right, fight is on for the Boom Esports, looking for more, and the pull-in from Alex is huge. That's the fight they're looking for. Wako opens out.
Watch Leon, though.
Leon gaming around the backline. In comes Leon, but the damage follow-up is not there
Wako's
anymore.
so alive, though.
As
Wako's
the double
so
kill
alive.
comes in for Wako, and Mawa is trying. Oh, I don't believe it. Can he go for it? The quadra. All he needs is one more party going over to get himself the pentakill.
Our special day of tiebreakers continues. Now we have decided all the teams that are going into the postseason. We have to figure out the actual seeding of the teams coming in here. I'm Clement, and with me is the ever so fabulous Nightstar. Before we go into a little bit more about the tiebreaker scenarios, we are going to talk about our sponsors. Thank you very much to CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom, and Caliber for sponsoring this league and making everything we do possible. So now going on into the second tiebreaker, we have J-Team versus Boom Esports playing for 4th place. Now, it doesn't really matter in terms of the position they will be in the bracket, but it does matter for side selection, as these two teams will still be facing up against each other going forward.
Yeah, there's going to be some, small differences here, as they're going to be playing, as you mentioned, for side selection, at least for the first game, and after that, I would assume loser goes ahead and chooses. So it really just comes down to that first game, how to set the tempo to a series, and especially when these series in playoffs, like the first game matters a lot. How you come out the gates does indeed make a statement of how the rest of the series will go, and I expect these teams to not necessarily play around, but also because, again, you are playing very soon, very soon, they're not going to show necessarily any hitting cards that they do have planned.
And frankly, J-Team probably don't need to show too many cards. Their average series game time against Boom Esports was 27 minutes, and frankly, J-Team has the most dominating record against Boom Esports out of any of the top teams in the playoffs. So if you're just looking at the regular season, you think that J-Team, with their aggressiveness in the early game, with the fact that Mission has a lot more tempo champions in the LeBlanc, maybe they can just run over Boom Esports once again. But we're going to take a look at the other roster as Rocky comes in, Alex over Holo, which has been starting throughout most of week 5, and then Ruby in the mid lane again, Wako and Pop in the bot.
Now this one, I feel like Holo should get the start just because of the fact that he brings that much more aggressive edge to the squad that I feel like they would want to take against J-Team, because even though it's been very fast games, I feel like this is still one of the slower teams, although you would say Boom has the slowest of game times. And our matchup is going to be in the spot lane, Lil V versus Wako. The matchup's not really about the lane phase, it's more about after the lane phase, because both of these players have been very good when it comes to team fights, but not necessarily the most domineering of laners.
Yeah, we did observe a general decline in the importance of bot laners this split. Bot lane is much more about who can actually rotate to Herald quicker rather than actually just playing out the lane itself. So I don't think that the lane stats matter as much, but as you mentioned, I think both of them are more sort of scaling AD carries. We see Ziggs a lot with both. We see Ezreal coming out from both sides, and they do tend to just show up in team fights. And for the early game, Pop can roam, Woody can roam.
Yeah,
they're going to be pretty hands-off about the situation.
Yeah, the big numbers are, of course, going to be the DPM and the damage per game, or damage per gold value. They provide a ton of damage for these rosters. They're the main carries when it comes to those later game team fights, because again, Boom definitely take the game more often than not past the 30-minute mark, and J-Team as well do have a bit of a slower time when it comes to some of these top teams, not really against some of the lower teams, but minus Boom, they do take their time.
I do like the draft here. J-Team forcing Boom Esports to go a little bit slow. They're taking away all their tempo champs. This is exactly the trend that we've been seeing from week 5.
Yep.
Against Boom Esports, you ban LeBlanc, you ban Varus, and they have to go past for 30 minutes. On the other hand, for Boom Esports, they're taking away the Lee Sin, which probably has caused them a lot of PTSD. Hana had a perfect game against them, and it was Hana's best game of the split. So definitely don't want to give him that Lee Sin. They're taking away Mission's tempo champions, like we mentioned, and J-Team, they're going for the Ziggs. We did see in the head-to-head Ziggs, a huge champion for both Wako and Lil V.
Yeah, this is a very important champion, and J-Team have shown themselves to first pick this champ quite often, and even more so because of the overlap in that bot champion pool. It does mean that it's going to leave up the Thresh, which leaves also the possibility of something like a Thresh of Philios to give a little bit more late game potential here for the Boom roster, but I expect them to go for something like a jungle pick here to see what they can do. You could definitely go for a Diana, that's still left available.
Okay, that's a very early Victor coming in.
Yeah, so the early Victor pick feels to me like they've practiced bot lane Victor. And this is merely a trap to try and get Mission to show his hands.
I'll be honest, I just don't think you know Ruby. If Ruby's team picks Victor, he's playing it. I see no scenario whatsoever which Victor goes bottom lane. Not when
Victor,
Ruby's on the team.
Not a bad pairing with Thresh, to be fair.
Okay, maybe we'll see what happens here, but I'm highly doubtful. Basically, Victor, if you take Victor's mask off, it's actually Ruby's face underneath there. Did you know that part about the lore?
I did not.
That's how synonymous these two champion players are. Yeah, so I
thought
find
it was
hard to
crown
believe,
underneath
it could happen.
Today I learned.
Yeah, it's actually rude. It's actually rude. Well, on the other hand, we do have the Trundle plus Ziggs combo coming out. We've actually seen J-Team run this quite a few times, and it's been very potent to just trap people and force them to walk onto satchel charges.
Yep. It's actually just such an impressive...
it's actually Trundle jungle, excuse me.
Yeah, it's still such an impressive pairing when it comes to some of these mid-game fights or just around the objectives, because you do have the Trundle roaming around. You throw down a pillar and a choke and you immediately satchel charge him back. It's just so oppressive, and especially on blue side, because you do have a lot more choke control around that dragon area, which a lot of these fights are going to be breaking out around. And for the side of Boom, they do go ahead, lock in the Philios, which, is a good pairing regardless, and it also means that they've shown their hand. It is going to be Victor going into that mid lane.
Nightstar. Hey, Nightstar. You listening? Nightstar.
Huh?
Nightstar, you listening?
What?
I just want to say, I told you so. There's no way the Victor is going on to anyone else but Ruby. If Ruby's on the team, he's taking Victor 100%. This guy is a Victor one trick. All right, I had my fun now.
I thought he was a Vlad.
We are going to go into the second phase of the. I think it says a lot about the state of Vlad when the Vlad one trick actually just puts him in the dumpster and stops playing him. We are going to get a Nocturne though. Very interesting, could still have flex potential. It's been a while since we've seen Nocturne actually come back, especially after the nerfs to lane minions. So slightly more likely in the jungle, but we'll find out what the actual lane goes to. J-Team now, they have to show their solo laners. We did talk about how J-Team does play a more tempo-oriented game against Boom Esports. Their average game time is only 27 minutes against them, so they just kind of speed ran them. But this draft, they are going to go for the Orianna, so much later.
This is a pick that Mission has really started playing a lot more as of late here. I mean, I can see it makes a lot of sense here in the fact that, well, you do have a lot of terrain control, right? You throw down the pillar, there's nowhere to go, then you have to deal with Satchel Charge and a Oriana Ball to try and navigate, and if you don't navigate properly, you're going to get shockwaved. However, it does mean Woody, or not Woody, but Arrest on this Camille pick is going to be the AD damage for his squad, and over on the side of Boom Esports, it means that you can go ahead and lock in just the most well-known AP drain tank in the game, which is that Mundo. He loves going against AP compositions because he can rush that Spirit Visage. Of course, it's taken a little bit of a hit because of how easy it is to get access to Grievous Wounds. But this is just such a perfect Mundo setup.
All right, so we have the full teams locked in here. J-Team gonna go for a very interesting Camille and Oriana combo here. It seems like there's a lot of AoE on their side, and meanwhile Boom Esports going back to basics, late game scaling, front to back team composition, very solid picks across the board. I also am pretty interested about how they're going to utilize this Nocturne here. But you know, just judging from the draft, I kind of want to get your take here, Nightstar. Who do you think actually came out ahead of the BP phase?
I feel like for this Boom Esports have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to how they want to play. They can play a little bit more towards those side lanes because they do have that Nocturne. They have a Mundo. Depending on how well he performs in lane, that could be another avenue of attack for them. But when it comes to the 5v5s, it's very difficult to see how this Filio gets to ever play the game, because he has so much stuff to navigate. He has to go around the Trundle Pillar, he has to go around the Oriana Ball, he has to go around the Ziggs, the Satchel Charge, and even before that, he also has to dodge the Ziggs Mega Inferno Bomb. So when it comes to these fights, you're looking at him possibly being stuck at 60% even before the fight breaks out. And a lot of it is going to rely on Alex and Rocky being able to plow their way through to that backline to apply pressure, disturb the backline, to then allow Ruby and Wako to get that space to kill the rest of the team.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying here. It's so hard for Aphelios to actually walk up and deal damage here. Like, he can get denied so many different ways. So Boom Esports, even though they looks like they have a very standard front to back, they can't really play it as such. They can't really be focused on just kiting in this sense, as the other team also has the range advantage. We'll see how Boom Esports decides to navigate this one. Very standard composition, but very unstandard combo from the opponent team. As we head on to the Rift, again, these two teams are playing for the stake of 4th place. Now, with 4th place secured, you will get side selection during the first round of playoffs. It might not sound like a lot, but it's definitely still impactful, as we have a bit of a emote war. We're going to disregard that and just take a look at the runes coming in here. Double phase rushes in the mid lane, and we also have the lethal tempo coming out from Alex.
Not too surprising here. Does what I'm really interested in what Alex will do is whether or not he still goes for the Stride Breaker. Of course, that was kind of the build on him before, but that was also before the big Stride Breaker nerfs. He might end up just going for a Gore Drinker instead, as that would be the better version of the Stride Breaker at the moment. And yeah, like having the Nocturne gives you some options to play 1-3-1 towards the mid game, but when it comes to that late game, it still feels like he's not gonna provide a whole lot.
Hey, you can turn the lights off. That's vision impairment is always a very serious issue to deal with.
They have triple TP, so it does screw them over in that regard.
Taking a little bit of a pause right here. Jungle starts are going to go down from both sides, starting on towards the top, heading toward the bottom. To give a bit of a ganking advantage towards the side of J-Team here.
Yeah.
And,
it does look like Pop and Wako are going to look to get a little bit aggressive here, about to hit level 2. And And yeah, they're going to be able to zone J-Team off of this wave. Woody and Lil V tried to go aggressive during that level 1, try and get control of the wave, but in the end, not able to trade enough health because of the fact that you have that extra potion on the Vilios. He's going to be able to sustain a lot better. They're going to be able to get level 2 comfortably. However,
very
Ruby...
cheesy gank coming in from Hana right here. Gets the slowdown before the pillar even uses, but drops the pillar early.
Uh-oh.
That should have 100% been a kill, but Hana, well, he definitely fat fingered that one.
Yeah, he definitely fumbled that gank there, and it means that Alex, he can continue to just farm up still, as that's one of the big concerns. Actually, he's just going to walk. I don't know what he's looking for here.
Mission doesn't have a flash, neither does Hana, but I don't think they're going to fall for this one, as they do have full vision of him.
Oh, he has to finish it before...
For Alex if he gets this one.
Okay. But he's trapped now. Okay.
Oh, good spell shield. And now Pop is going to miss the hook.
Okay. Teleport's coming in. That's rest.
Double TPs with a double flay coming in here, and the fight is ongoing. Mission, the first one to fall. Rocky is going to zone in onto Hana, who has nowhere to go. And that's a full-on collapse from the side of J-Team. They have to get out of here.
And that was such a great fight coming in from Boom Esports. When you expend the teleports, you're going to favor the team that doesn't necessarily need as many items. And, well, when you're comparing Camille and Mundo's perfectly fine fighting without items, and the Camille is really just a stun bot when she comes in pre-6. And that's exactly what happens here. Pop gets a beautiful flash, 3-man play, stays alive, so he's able to get that lantern to escort his jungler out, and then they also collapse on Hana, who's just trapped in the pit. That's a 2-for-0, gets them to a 1,000 gold lead. More importantly, Alex can continue to keep farming very, very comfortably. Hana's impact, because he doesn't have flash anymore, it's going to be even harder for him to take advantage of this Trundle's early game.
Yeah, that was a really painful chain of events coming in from J-Team. I honestly feel like if Hana, they got the first kill there, none of the other stuff would have happened. Yeah. They should have 100% got the kill on Ruby. Like, if you get the slowdown on Trundle before the flash, you should be saving the pillar to knock them back after the flash. But I don't know why he used it so early, and you know, that led to a whole cascade of events where Pop was able to call them out, and unfortunately Woody's engage was nullified. So now we have Boom Esports heading towards level 6, where, you know, Nocturne is going to be a lot more impactful. Hana is spotted out here. Let's see if they have a response.
Know that there's an invade coming in, and it's just a matter of how they deal with Hana and Woody here.
Well, does seem like Ruby might be coming in for the collapse, but it still would be a 3v2. Meanwhile, Pop has made his way into his own jungle as well.
So waiting for
like
this
both teams
blue
are trying
buff
to bait
start.
each other. Oh, Hana goes in, finds his spell shield. That's just going to be the straight up disengage. And I think the fight should end without Pop finding a hook. Yep, that doesn't go down.
A whole lot of posturing
from either side.
A whole lot of posturing, but not a lot of end result at the moment, as Alex will spot out that control word, which means that he's just going to go ahead and walk away. But the collapse coming in, Ruby knows full knowledge of where they are.
Ruby with no flash should just be going down here, and he pokes a little bit too far forward into the ramp. This time around, Hana definitely redeeming himself as Wako tries to come in for a kill. He does have the Gravitum. See if he's going to use it. We'll pop it right now. Shendo's going down. Chakram's flash into the kill onto Mission, and they find another hook, but the play doesn't have enough range. So Wako does pick that one up at the end, but at the cost of his own flash on that one.
Definitely a very odd play. I don't think Mission expected the 80 carry roam coming in from the Raptor area, as that's not usually what you see from an 80 carry, but that's where Wako comes, and He's able to secure the kill at the very least, gets that extra gold. However, he's going to have to be careful because at level 6 for this bot lane, that's when things get really scary. The Ziggs Leona burst damage is immense. And hopefully, well, I really hope he took double magic resistance runes.
Yeah, we'll see if he went for that one. I'm kind of doubtful, but
he didn't.
Yeah, he definitely didn't. Wako trying to push this one in. He is level 6, and I have to commend Wako for that roam. Like, it was very difficult to predict there, as he only had 10, like, he had less than 20 ammo left on the Gravitum. So to pull that play off without Moonlight Vigil, as you said, Mission definitely didn't see that one coming. Now Boom Esports, they do have a bit of a lead in terms of tempo getting towards this Herald. Pop already making his way halfway across the map to this position. The jungler isn't there for J-Team, so Boom Esports should just get this one completely uncontested.
Yeah, more importantly, there's level 6 on Nocturne, while Hana doesn't have 6 on his Trundle quite yet, which means if they decide to poke their head into that area, they could definitely get immediately turned on and picked before the fight even gets to break out. That will be Rift Herald going into the hands of Alex, and now the next objective is, of course, that dragon, which the side of J-Team do have priority onto. And it just comes down to, well, for Boom, how do they take advantage of this Rift Herald to further push their gold advantage?
So far, all of their lanes are actually in pretty good states. I would say all of them are winning, actually. So, with lane priority in all 3 lanes, any lane really is possible here, and I'm not exactly sure which one they will go for. On the flip side for J-Team, it feels like they are relegated to a more scaling game, and that's definitely bad news for Hana. Like, Trundle scaling doesn't really go together. So we'll see how they try to keep close. At least they don't have Drake pressure.
Yeah, that is very true. So they should reliably be able to stall things out to a certain degree when it comes to having the Drake soul be that win condition. However, for the side of Boom Esports, I'd like to have a little bit more focus up into that top side. Get Rocky snowballed here, because as the Mundo, yes, you are a tank, but you're more of a juggernaut rather than straight up tank because you do so much damage. But also towards the later portions of the game, because of how much terrain control is up on the side of J-Team, it's very hard to find impact later in the game because of the subjugate and all the things you have to walk around.
We do have a cross-map situation developing, with Boom Esports potentially going for the 4v2 dive bot, and Hana plus Resk going for Rocky. Rocky will flash out and pop his ultimate, staying incredibly safe here. Knew that he was in danger of the Hextech ultimatum, is just gonna make sure he gets out completely free. On the other hand, we also had a, I believe that was a, it wasn't a Scryer, but we did have J-Team actually spotting out the roam towards the bot side, and Boom Esports just called that one off.
Nice little spot there. And really the only big gap here in the game is, of course, those 2 kills, but also just the fact that Alex is 20 CS ahead of this Trundle, which makes a lot of sense. The Trundle's not built to farm unless that he goes for an early Tiamat, which I haven't seen in a very long time, and I don't think we will.
I miss that build so much. You don't even know.
It was kind of fun. It was definitely fun to play, just because of it made this champion that literally just only runs up and down the river. You know, every once in a while you can take some raptor camps, but now it's just really running back up the river and recall, and then you go run back up and down the river again.
J-Team are playing this one incredibly slow, and so is Boom Esports. Both of these teams seem like... Yeah, we are in for the long haul, I think. I haven't seen a single paranoia this game just yet. We have seen multiple attempts by Boom Esports to maybe crack this bot side open. They have gone there 4v2 twice now. Unfortunately, J-Team, pretty good defenses here. Been able to clear out this river ward multiple times, and yeah, I just don't... technically, I think Boom Esports should be the one starting the action, especially with the Nocturne. But just haven't seen it yet.
Oh, Rift Herald's about to time.
Great Spidey senses.
Oh no. Okay. He throws it down, but that's not the optimal place to play it there.
We do have the flash in from Pop catching out. Mission Chaos Storm goes down too. Paranoia there. He's definitely going to die, but unfortunately for Alex, doesn't pick up an assist.
What do you know? It's
still
perfect.
Fine.
It was perfect placement right there. They knew they were going to get the Paranoia kill onto Mission. That's why they preemptively put the Rift Herald down. It definitely wasn't because of the fact that Alex was about to lose Rift Herald in like 2 seconds before he threw it down. But yeah, I still would have liked to see it go top lane, just because it helps get Rocky snowballed and opens up that lane and allows him to start roaming around. But it ends up going mid, and they still get a good chunk of gold. Just you know, a man can dream.
Yeah, and we saw the rotations for J-Team. They also lost 2 tower plates in the bottom lane as Lil V had to go up there and try to wave clear. So very unfortunate for J-Team to lose that amount of gold here. We could see the pings here. J-Team definitely expected something was going to happen because the Herald had to be dropped. But unfortunately for Mission, he still goes a little bit too far. This is not the best of pathing from him. Pop uses his abilities great. Just comes in with the easy pickup kill.
Yeah, and it was really just great roam from Pop, and also a fantastic ward coming over the wall to allow Alex to then go ahead and snipe down Mission. They'll go ahead and also snake themselves their first dragon here, as it will be Infernal Rift. Infernal Rift, fantastic for them, for the side of Boom, because not only is it extra damage, but remember, their main problems is trying to navigate around this terrain, and what do you know? Infernal Rift gives you a little bit more terrain not to interact with, and opens things up a lot.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes for them in team fights. Technically, it should allow them to, you know, have different approach angles onto Ziggs and Orianna, so very important. Especially when you have divers on the team. Meanwhile, we did get a graph where Boom Esports now has 5 turret platings compared to 0 from J-Team. So J-Team really finding it quite tough to get on the board. Woody has a great position, but is going to get spotted out. And the full 8-man scramble is going to happen right here. Pop goes a little bit wide, Solar Flare down, and they are opening up on this Thresh. Bishop does find him immediately. Alex dives way too deep, gets cleaned up easily by Rest, and that's going to be J-Team all the way.
That was just a straight 4v4 fight, and J-Team, they're the ones that managed to come out ahead, surprisingly. And I'm actually really surprised. It really just comes down to the fact that Alex, he forces the dive play in the side of J-Team. They immediately turn their attention onto Alex. As you see right there, the moment he jumps in, well, Pop's already dead, so they don't have to turn their attention to keep on moving forward. They can just peel back, finish off the squishy Nocturne, and that means they get a 2-for-0 with a Rift Herald. Nice big swing for the side of J-Team. They're still down 2k gold, but the potential is definitely there for them to get 2 towers with this Ziggs.
No crowd control in that fight for Boom Esports. Once the hook went wide, that was it. They couldn't focus down any target. Wako is going to open up onto Lil V with a beautiful combo of guns. Force the flash out. You got to run from those chakrams. They kill a lot of damage when stacked up with the onslaught there. We have to get out, and we do see Wako still having a very good lead in this bottom lane. I do expect Boom Esports to be taking down this tower quite quickly and open the map up. You know, even though J-Team does have the Herald, they are still in a rather dire situation in this fight. Ana again trying to find a gank onto Rocky. Rocky is immune to immobile abilities. He's going to stay relatively fine, though. It does take a big chunk of damage, especially from his own passive. Oh, and we do have the full-on combo going on to Wako, but Paranoia is there. Boom Esports do find the first kill. Hextech ultimatum into the top side. Rocky gets subjugated. Hana walks away. 1 tower shot away from death, but will survive. And they are going to get the top lane tower.
They might even be able to get 2 with how fast that they are taking this first one and how much damage they do have onto the Camille, but it does look like Victor is making his rotation over, so it will just be the 1. Unfortunately, unable to get that. Okay, Ruby. He's got flash.
He's trying. He's got the speed up from the Q as well, but misses the death ray.
Searching.
In comes the
might need the
TP.
flash
The
now.
Ruby special. Well, let's see if he. No, he's dead. That was very Ruby. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah. Definitely a very Ruby-esque play there. We're going to see how the dive happens once more ults are popped onto Rocky, which means that once they go in, he's got no regen left. And this is the nice things about having a Trundle on the team, is that you can make dives against tanks possible because of the ability to strip away their resistances, and it pays dividends right then and there.
Really nice find into the top side. I don't think it changes things as much, but we might be seeing Rest now winning out in the side lane. We'll keep close attention to that, see if that's actually the case. He does have the level lead. Now Boom Esports have changed up the rotations as well, going into the 1-3-1 mode. Everyone funneling in for the Infernal Drake. Definitely the most contested of the souls here. Alex does have the Paranoia, and there's a lot of catching potential coming out here from Boom Esports, so I feel like J-Team, they have to respond and be very grouped up together.
And the big thing here of note is the fact that everyone has pretty much built up their first mythic, but more importantly, Wako, he's got a collector in his build, so the pop-up potential is
Oh, they
nuts.
find a mission amongst the trees and kill him instantly. Hana also going incredibly low as the pillar will disengage, but Boom Esports find their mark and should be taking away as Ruby goes in once again. Ruby, what are you doing? No, Ruby, he just dies for nothing, but they do find Willie on the back end. A huge Moonlight Vigil catches 3. Can they finish up on the kills? That's going to be a double for Alex on one side. Proper president. Pop is just amazing this game. I can't believe he found mission there.
Oh, wild play coming in from a Pop. He gets the hook, but he also manages to find a beautiful lantern play. All around well done from the support from Boom Esports. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. All right, Clement?
Okay.
Let's
ready.
talk about that Ruby play. My oh my.
It ended up working. That's all I'm saying, okay? We'll walk
Oh,
us
he
through
curved
this
the
again.
bullet. Oh. And then, like, right when that happens, they know that the side of J-Team, they're pretty much on the back foot, and because of that, well, Nocturne goes in to create more chaos. However, Ruby didn't get the memo that they were going towards Dragon. However, fortunately, Wako's there to pick up the pieces, and they just run away with that fight rather than going 1 in a Dragon. They end up getting 3 for 1 in a Dragon.
I feel like whenever Ruby's playing Victor, he kind of gets a little bit cray-cray in the head. I mean, we have seen this multiple times for him, so hopefully he can, mellow out a little bit. Boom Esports still with a sizable lead. They are heading towards the Baron at this point. And unfortunately for Mission, this is also something we've seen from him a couple times. Russ is going to try and get a duel with Rocky, gets the slowdown, accident ultimatum popped directly, and the true damage is hurting very much as Rocky tries to run away. He's about 1 hit from dying. The hook shot will land. He tries to get his passive, and he does manage to get the heal, but it doesn't matter. Tactical Sweep finds him on the end, catches it on the edge, and Rest, well, I guess our questions have been answered. Mundo, you can't really go up against a duelist.
Yeah, especially when there's just so much true damage packed into the Camille kit, along with the Ignite, of course, reducing the healing on his ultimate. That's why, even though Mundo, it feels like he's such a great stat stick, he's still relatively limited in what he can do the moment he gets ignited, or the moment when the other team starts buying Grievous wounds. You just don't have enough regen or enough defensive stats to just be that tank. You're much more of that juggernaut than people might think.
Yeah, we see him armor stacking, as you mentioned, but Precision Protocol don't care about your armor, so
yeah,
he's still finding it hard, and I do think that gives J-Team a lot of different chances to drag this game out. We have seen what a late-game Ziggs can do against an Aphelios, so very dangerous stuff. And Boom Esports trying to find a pick onto Woody. I'd be very scared if Pop is running towards me. I'd back out immediately. And I think this game's fairly interesting because we don't really actually see a lot of engage from Paranoia. Boom Esports are simply relying on the fact that Pop is a Thrush God. That's all the engage they need.
And thankfully he does also have now the Shurelia's Reverie, so he's going to get that extra bit of move speed to help him out, try and close the gap. Also helps out his squad whenever he tosses out that lantern, gives them that extra bit of move speed to get to the lantern. And now they've wholeheartedly decided, hey, you know, we probably don't want to be stuck in that 1v1 anymore. Let's try and figure out a way to get him out of that very unfortunate matchup at the moment and try and make some sort of team play. But it means that Camille gets free time. Look at her items. She's got the Divine Thunder. She has the Sterix. She's going to be building towards that Tiamat item, whether it is the Titanic or the Ravenous. Both are going to be absolutely monumental for her once she completes that item. And I feel like they should have given Rocky some Nocturne attention to try and slow down this Camille early on.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit too late for that now. It's definitely not going to be happening soon. I do want to touch on the item builds, especially from the Mundo. You know, we did talk about potentially Gore Drinker coming out, but we do have just a full tank frontline coming in from Rocky and Alex, and I do want to get your take on this. What do you think about the itemizations here? It seems like they're just setting up for something like that, maybe?
Yeah, it did feel like one of the big questions was, okay, Ruby is pinned.
We do have the Paranoia. I'm sorry to cut you off right there. Bad timing on the questions. Hana does get a great pillar down. Pop has to use his Dark Passage. Now the teams are going to be fighting over the second Infernal. Hana's already popped down his extra speed boost.
Ruby has a creative
angle. Ruby is waiting in the sidelines to just pop out. He is going to get found, but that's an interesting one as no one really follows up outside of Lil V. He does get the Honey Fruit, and he's just back in the fight. So 2 ultimates down, Rest goes in, and instantly pops back out, but he does get the box away. As Hana doesn't get the smite, it will be Alex finding the second Infernal. Now
gotta get out.
are on the wrong side of the map, but they deal massive damage. The entire backline is just destroyed, and Wako gets Mission out of nowhere. Mission doesn't even get to do anything in that fight. That's just 200 here and straight up Sniper 360 no scope. Where did he go?
And he just absolutely evaporates,
another blast away from Lil V as
now
Pop finds the Death Sense over the wall. Lil V gets another kill on the back line, but he can't get away from Rocky. He's gonna die to the defibrillator, and Boom Esports walk away with 4 kills to none.
Boom Esports absolutely.
1, excuse me.
They absolutely ran away with that one. They get the dragon. Somehow they win the 50-50 there. Alex holds his cool even with a low health bar, and the rest of J-Team just barreling at the dragon. And Rest, he tries to create some space by making this play here, and it did for a brief moment. And I mean, it was a very solid shockwave. It was just they end up trying to capitalize on that damage, and the turn was just there.
Oh, it's so disgusting that he actually just died to the red buff in the end. Very unfortunate for Mission, not able to do a lot there. It does get the shockwave, but that's about it. And okay, Ruby. Okay, Ruby. That's good.
Get him, Ruby.
I can tell you're a Ruby fan.
Oh my lord, Ruby, this aggressive play, you know, reminds me of another Korean player. You know, Mickey? You remember Mickey? Yeah, it's been a while.
A long time.
But my most memorable play was him quirky packaging into 5 members by himself randomly.
Oh, you still want to see that? You can watch Scout. He does that all the time. Yeah, you still want another Korean player to see that happen. We're going to get a bit of a tussle here. Boom Esports do force the TP from rest. Bit of a good win there.
Very, very big win, and because now if Boom wants to, they do have the avenue to throw Rocky into a side lane because they know they'll have him being able to respond to a cross-map play a lot better, but they're going to turn straight on to Baron. We'll see how they respond.
Not sure about this start. Hana does get stuck in the middle of River. He's going to go down. Multiple crowd controls landing on him. Boom Esports with a great turn and the paranoia to confuse J-Team. J-Team aren't able to respond fast enough to save their jungler, but they will dissuade Boom Esports from finishing up on the Baron.
I mean, they stopped the Baron, but the Baron doesn't really matter here because Boom, they have a 5,000 gold lead, and more importantly, they have 3 dragons to their name. So in 100 seconds, the side of J-Team do have to go towards this dragon to try and contest for Soul, which also means he has to group up earlier rather than later because, again, he doesn't have that teleport. He has to be there in person. And the big question will be, well, do they end up throwing Mission or Lil V in one of these side lanes because they do have the teleports? But if that's the case, then Mundo can kind of just dog them down. That also provides issues for the side of J-Team.
So if J-Team want to come back here, what do you need to see them do? Split objectives, and it seems like Boom Esports are just going to straight up force once more. It worked the first time, why not the second?
They're stuck in the pit, though.
Yeah, and Russ does have to take a very long trek here. Paranoia goes down. It will be a single play onto the support. Hana being opened up onto Paranoia, straight onto Mission. That's a great 4-man ultimate coming in from Lil V, but not enough to save his jungler. Rocket going a little bit low. Ignite goes down, and they do find the Zenith blade, but Woody doesn't get the kill before himself dies. Then they're going still onto the backline. Ruby about to drop, but survives! And Wako is going to pick up the pieces with the triple kill already. He's hunting for more blood. Lil V, a very half-hearted attempt at putting some poke down. He has to scurry away. And now you have the Drake up.
Dragon up. They are able to claim that Baron buff as well. And then look at the level gap in these 80 carries. You not only have a massive item differential, you also have a 3-level differential here. As we're going to see the replay, this is where the Mega Inferno Bomb should have just come in just to get poke damage, because again, you have the Baron Shred coming down. They're losing magic resistance, but they're a little bit hesitant when it comes to pulling the trigger right then and there, and as a result, they end up overextending themselves. This is a much better kite back composition than a chase comp coming in from J-Team. And the side of Boom, they're perfectly happy with that result because that allows them to just turn the tables very easily.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It felt like J-Team actually had a lot more chances than they gave themselves credit for just forcing Boom Esports to all into the pit and then layer down all of the area of control abilities. Like, you pillar them into the pit, you Hextech ultimatum, knock everyone back, and you just have like a shooting range. But unfortunately, J-Team not able to get into the river in time. Boom Esports now with the Infernal, so there is going to be another start. They're opening up onto Ruby. They get him right off the start. And now Paranoia from Alex is going to fly in back onto Mission, but he is going in on a 1v3 of a suicide mission. Does stay alive. Rest comes in on the back lane, but he doesn't find Wako. He's going in onto Pop. Lil V does get 2 champions at the end, so it should stave off this attempt from Boom Esports, but it's getting really close. Wako still does have that Infernal Soul, and he just one-shots Mission. Goodbye, Oriana. Wako once again not giving Mission any chances in a 2v3. He wants to close this out. He might just be able to do it. 200 HP on Lil V, and Wako is a monster. He is the raid boss this game. J-Team, you will woe the day that you didn't use Hextech Ultimatum on Wako.
Oh my lord, this man is full 200 years online. He almost has that completed GA as well. He still has a stopwatch. He might just hold on to it and just keep it as a stopwatch to have that extra use in a fight. But as we see the replay, I mean, yes, you burst down Ruby, but also you end up using the shockwave onto Ruby. And at this point, yes, Ruby is a scary threat, but you need to allocate cooldowns onto this terrifying menace known as Aphelios, as he just goes to town, takes absolutely no damage through all of that until the very end.
This is unfair. Look at
and this is the play. Boom!
It's half HP!
That was like 800 damage.
What? He's 800. He's half HP with Zhonya's. How is that fair? You remember we were talking about how it would be difficult for Wako to walk up against an Orianna Trundle? I guess when you're this fed, it really doesn't matter because you one-shot the Orianna anyway. Rest going in now. They do find Wako, but he's able to cleanse out instantly and still take the Dark Passage. Great fingers there. Boom Esports are going to resume this push. They're waiting on the minion wave. Pop in the wings.
Taking things slow. 8k gold lead. They still have Inferno Soul, so they can afford to kind of just go for a bit of a home war. They will be able to whittle them down, get that next tower down. Now it looks like they want in.
Yeah, Hana going very low already. Pop trying to land the hook onto Woody. Nearly dies for it. Has to flash out. So that should be the push. And now Rest sends his blood in the water. He's going to go in. Oh, Rocky's still going to stay alive for a long time. You have the Moonlight Vigil. Not really landing. Hook shot onto one. And then Mission finds a two-man. So they finally do take out the front line. A lot of members going super low in the back. Ruby looks like he's going to clean this one up. But no, Aphelios goes down. Another great find onto Rest. Oh, that was so close from him just dying because of the Infernal Soul tick. He's gonna stay alive, and it seemed like Boom Esports bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
And more importantly, for the side of J-Team, they're able to hold on to both of their Nexus towers. And remember when we talked about this composition just plays so much better when you get to control the terrain, you get to be more patient and play things slow, play more a kite back play style. You saw it pay off there. The side of Boom, they end up overextending just a little bit. They get Pop chipped down incredibly low, and that's when they're able to start turning things around. And you see there that, like, Rocky, he's not a front line. He really isn't that juggernaut or that big beefy tank that you want in front of the rest of the team. He's just kind of he's kind of like a figurine.
Yeah, he
doesn't actually hold a lot of
damage from Rest there.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, J-Team, they're actually looking at this Baron. They're going to be able to control the terrain. And how did Boom get back in here?
Lil V is going to start sending some bouncing bombs towards the ramp. It looks like J-Team have half a mind to turn, but they still want to stick onto the Baron. Wako could deal massive amounts of damage right here, and we see the Infernal Soul tick. Hana going outside of the pit. This will be the disengage from J-Team, but in we go! The flash and burst damage from Ruby kills Woody right off the bat. Rest coming in to save the day, though. He does find Wako, but Wako stands his ground and just guns him down. J-Team are on the run. With only 2 members left onto the top side, can they find themselves back to safety? It looks like they will try to do base defense as Wako is just heading down there. Alex heading very slowly in. Doesn't find the auto attack onto Mission, but Hana is left to his own devices. He's still trying to get away as fast as possible.
Wako's trying to end the game.
The base, and here comes the TPs. Mission has to play this 1v2. He doesn't have the shockwave, and Wako is just gonna continue on his rampage, taking down the Nexus like that. Boom Esports secured the 4th place in the PCS postseason.
And they don't end up having to show a whole lot here. These are all pretty standard picks. Even the Victor, like, yes, it's a bit off meta, but it is Ruby. So all things considered, it was a very, very good victory for Boom. You secure yourself the higher seed to get side selection, and you also don't have to showcase any of your hitting cards. So, well, very, very well done from them.
Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate for J-Team. We did talk about how in the regular season, J-Team actually swept Boom Esports 2-0, and frankly, it wasn't even close. But once we saw J-Team actually go for a very late game strategy, I just don't feel like they know when to get back agency with compositions like that. And I also felt like Mission was very underwhelming this game. Like, early flash in, no kill. To be fair, that was more on Hana than anyone else. And then in critical team fights, you just get one shot over and over again. Like, that was 3 team fights, crucial team fights in the game, where Mission, he got his shockwave off, but that's it. Like, he didn't do anything other than that. Got one shot by Wako twice, and then Pop just killed him out of nowhere once. So, I'm not sure about Mission on Orianna, man. This is it's been a trend this split, but his control mages do not look as good as his tempo champions.
I think that's also just Orianna right now in the game. Yes, the mage buffs have come through, which have helped out mages, but the fact of the matter is, if you're playing Orianna, you want those 3 or 4 items. You want more items than the game really allows you to. The game's mostly about 1 and 2 items at the moment. And Mission, like, yes, he landed a couple multi-man shockwaves, but where was the damage? Where was the actual punishment for overstepping your bounds? It was really just trying to create as much utility with terrain control. But again, because of the fact that you have a Ziggs, your opponent is incentivized to build magic resistance, whether or not it's through the runes or through the items, which means it's not 2 or 3 items, it's 3 or 4 items before she actually comes online.
Yeah, they definitely needed to get the Void Staff before being able to contest Boom Esports in that fight. But we have to reiterate that this tiebreaker doesn't really hold the same amount of stakes compared to the rest of the tiebreaker. This is only for, it is for seeding, but it is only for side selection going into it. So J-Team, you know, they didn't show many cards. What they showed was not their strongest set of cards, I would say. Taking a look at the game graph, Boom Esports won early on after the skirmish. Pop was an absolute god in all of these Drake fights. They get the Infernal. That was pretty much lights out for JT.
Yeah, it really was just that Inferno fight or the Baron fight before the Inferno, where things just got out of control. You get the Baron buff onto this squad, you also are able to secure Inferno Soul, and that is just it. Even though you do have decent damage with an Orianna Ziggs and the Leon to help with that burst damage, you're just so magic damage heavy that the side of Boom Esports, all they have to do is play around those conditions.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like there was any chance for J-Team in those later game team fights. No surprises, Wako does get the MVP, 11-1-6. He not only outdamaged the Lil V, I felt like he was just by himself, worth more than all of the bottom side carries coming out from J-Team. 73% kill participation, 36% of his team damage, and look at that gold lead at the end. I'm not sure Zig's first pick is actually that much worth it over Aphelios. Still feels like Aphelios is the king of DPS.
Aphelios is definitely better in that bot lane matchup, but again, like the Ziggs gives you other options in the draft. J-Team just never took advantage of it. You're looking at something more aggressive, maybe like a Yone or a Yasuo, but then they go for, they have a Trundle, which is all about the early game, but then they pick a scaling mid laner. I feel like this synergy between that mid jungle just really spelled the end of it.
Yeah, they definitely couldn't hang on until the later games like we talked about they might have wanted to. So unfortunately, J-Team will have to settle for 5th as Boom Esports go on to 4th. But don't go anywhere. We still have one more tiebreaker left today, and it will be the most important one for 2nd place. A playoff bye on the line between Machi Esports and Megabank Beyond Gaming.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
we continue on with the tiebreaker extravaganza, heading on to Machi Esports versus Megabank Beyond Gaming. In terms of head-to-head, Machi hasn't been able to overcome BYG just yet, but they get another crack at it today. Before we go in deeper into the matchup itself, we do have to take time to thank our sponsors in CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom, and Caliber, our newest addition. So welcome back. Nice start. You know, we just saw J-Team getting trounced a little bit by Boom Esports, and maybe that's a good signal for Machi that, hey, even though you were swept in the regular season, you can still come back and get one back.
Hey, third time's the charm, right? And I would say this is pretty good opportunity in the cards because, again, even though Megabank Beyond Gaming have been winning, their last couple of wins have been very, very shaky, I have to say. Even, especially in that loss against Hong Kong Attitude, this roster, it feels like the last couple of games they might have been trying out a couple new things, but I'm a little bit concerned if they try too many new things. This is a young squad. Confidence always plays a big part in these younger squads, and if you hurt their confidence like that, even if they somehow manage to get that second seed, I'm very concerned on how they'll look in playoffs.
I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think if you know you're kind of testing things out, then you can give yourself cut yourself some slack, but maybe that's why I'm not a professional player. On the other side, we do have Machi Esports coming in here. Another day, another hairdo for Jimien, this time all the way back. I like this one. Machi, you know, they are the team, I think, with the most defined strategy that we have seen as we are blazing through to get into game today. We'll talk about most of the teams later. We do have the head-to-head matchup between the mid laner, Jimien versus Mawan. Now, in a vacuum, when these two teams have faced up against each other, it actually has been Mawan that has came out ahead with his set, with his, I believe it was LeBlanc, against Jimien's Silas and his Lucian.
While that might hold true, you can see that their gold differential at 15 is fairly comparable. Solo kills is really that highlight for Jimien. This man has been an absolute showtime attraction when it comes to PCS. He makes it all happen. He has a boatload of MVPs to go with those solo kills, and he'll look to step up his game once more and make third time the charm for his squad.
Definitely a much more flashy player, but the question is, can he get away with a pick that isn't countered? I feel like that has been the biggest problem with Machi Esports against Megabank Beyond Gaming. They like to play 1-3-1. Typically, they show their cards a little bit too early. Beyond Gaming just counter them out, and then Machi fall apart. They even lost in 26 minutes the last time they faced each other. So we'll see. This time, Machi, with side selection, is going to go onto the red side, which I think is a much more preferable side if you are going for 1-3-1.
I would definitely agree with the side selection here, or at least Machi falling into the red side definitely benefits them a whole lot. And for Megabank Beyond Gaming, I would expect that if you are going to be on blue side, you want to try and pinch and attack the jungle pool more often than not. Just try and put Gemini on the jungle that he's not going to be as comfortable with the matchup on. And starting with the Zen is definitely a good start for Megabank Beyond Gaming.
As they do roll around a couple of different picks. Think about the Aphelios after watching Wako's performance, and they are just going to lock it in. Oh, very interesting. We don't really see Aphelios first picked as much, especially with Ziggs open, and also Jin is available for Atlan, so
and the
it's
fresh
not
ban.
Your standard draft phase.
Yeah, and the Thresh is banned, which is the classic partner for the Aphelios, which does also leave him exposed to a pick like the Lee Sin. If the Lee Sin ever gets behind him, he has to burn flash. He doesn't have that extra escape option. And then they go ahead, follow it up with this Ziggs pick. So for Megabank Beyond Gaming, you're looking at possibly trying to deny the Ziggs Leona combo, but if you go that route, then you have even less protection for the Aphelios, as Leona just wants to go in full-heartedly. And Mega Bank Beyond Gaming, they supplement this Aphelios with an Orianna. So already looking to take more of a, I would say, J-team approach to the game rather than a more aggressive approach, which definitely leaves a lot of openings for Machi to really take advantage.
Yeah, it does feel like BYG is trying to teach, you know? Let's preach about front to back and how to correctly play it. So, very interesting. I feel like this is a sort of a hard forced draft coming from blue side. It's just like, we want to play this. We don't care what you're going to throw at us. We're just going to lock it in. Machi, on the other hand, going for a couple comfort picks. And interesting enough, saving the mid lane pick until the very last one. So we're not going to really know what Jimin is going to play just yet. In the meantime, they go with the blind Jace. Also an interesting choice here, considering that, you know, Aurelia is still up, and you're going to have to ban a lot of champions to get that Jace to work.
Could potentially have a couple of flex options with the Lee Sin going into the top lane or into the mid lane. We have seen Rest take it as of late, I believe last week. So it's not like it's been that long ago when top lane or solo lane Lee Sin has been played. I believe Jimin also has picked this champion up in the mid lane. So there's definitely a possibility of some shenanigans when it comes to this draft phase. Camille and Wukong taken away by the side of Machi, and for the side of BYG, they've taken away the Syndra for their first one, and we'll see what they ban away for their second pick.
Taking away a lot of tempo champions on Machi's side.
Could be a Lucian
really
here.
Yeah, that's a big one. Potential great counter pick as well. And Akali is a champion that it gets locked in. We still see getting played across the board in the LPL, in the LCK. So a lot of people picking this one up, and will get locked in. Pretty weak early on, but still has that same highs as we've seen in the previous two patches. Beyond Gaming now have to go for their top lane and also select for themselves a support. Usually it's going to be the Braum. That champion's still up. And they might be going for double supports here as Tahm Kench is locked in. Most likely for the top side. We'll see what the last pick is. Aurelia could also come out. So a few different options here.
Yeah, if this Tahm Kench is going into that top lane, then we're looking at something like a Nautilus or a Leona is typically what they would go for here. Although I do like the look of something like a Karma here, because you do have to run at them champions in the Xin and the Tahm Kench, but it won't be that pick. It'll be that Nautilus, who Kino has been pretty... He's been pretty coin flip on this champ. He's had some high moments and he's had very, very low moments. As was
we don't talk about
the Hong Kong Attitude game.
We don't talk about that game. That game never happened. I don't remember it at all. Was Kino even in that game? I'm not sure. Definitely was not too impactful. Machi, though, is going to lock in their combination once again, Ziggs plus Leona. Now, please do not get fooled by what we just saw from J-Team versus Boom Esports. Ziggs has a very high win rate against Aphelios. Not a lot of teams are willing to play this against the bot lane that Machi have selected for themselves. Though I will say that Doggo is probably the strongest laner, while Atlan, not so much in terms of the laning in itself in the bottom side. So maybe they are willing to just go for the strength of Aphelios, but we do have a very strong late game front teamfight comp. On the other hand, what do you see out of this Machi composition?
I feel like
it's definitely difficult to pilot.
It definitely fits into the Machi playstyle though, right? Because you have strong solo laners, you want to shift yourself into a 1-3-1 at some point, and you just want to play around the playmaking power of your solo laners and just in general your top half, and allow Atlan to just contribute damage from long range. That's exactly what this composition is. We'll see how well it does, because you do have to navigate around the Tahm Kench, who is going to be able to soak up a lot of this poke damage, who will be able to block for his front or back line here. And then it just becomes a matter of, well, you have to get creative with this Lee Sin. And if you are able to find those kicks, then this Akali is really going to come to life.
Yeah, there's a lot of good protection on the side for Megabank Beyond Gaming. I agree that, you know, Machi, it definitely looks like a one-shot combo. You have Atlan from very far away, Solar Flare from super far away, and then G-Man can just fly in. But it really does feel like a battle between who has the better defense compared to who has the better offense here. Offense for the side of Machi, defense for the side of Megabank Beyond Gaming. Excuse me. We are going to go on to the Rift and see if we get any shenanigans. It doesn't look like it. 3-man stack onto the top side, so Liab might get some help early on. Excuse me, Machi might get some help early on.
Yeah, Likai looking to get a little bit of cheese here. Of course, it is a Tom Kench. So, you know, yeah, it's just going to be a ward placed. And one of the other benefits coming in from this Machi comp is going to be the fact that they do have a lot of good poke damage coming in from both the Jace and this Ziggs pick. And while they're going to be incentivized to build a little bit of magic resistance because of the dual threat of Akali and Ziggs, that does mean Likai is going to be able to pump out a lot of damage. So look for him to land critical shock blasts before objective fights to then allow Machi to secure the objective without too much of commotion.
Right, we'll see if that comes into effect here as Liang just hard forces his way into the first brush. Likai tries to get away but still takes the tongue lash in the back. In the meantime, taking another look at the setup, we do have an extra TP on the side of Atlan here, so we'll be able to hard shove and even maybe take the tower after a successful gank. Both of the junglers, one side for Machi is going to get a leash here on Gemini. That's some great help, and in the meantime, Busha heading towards the bot lane will not get any help, and Beyond Gaming will use that to create an early shove-in.
One of the big
Trading
benefits
back and forth here
of the Philios lane, or just Philios with any pairing here in this matchup, is the fact that level 1 you will be able to play very aggressive. You are going to be able to get level 2 first, and it's just about trying to utilize that advantage to gain as much power in this 2v2 before Ziggs gets to do what he does best, which is play around the rest of his team.
Oh, does find the hook onto Atlan. Ignite goes down. Atlan will stay relatively safe here. That's going to be one summoner traded in by Beyond Gaming for not a whole lot. Atlan will be forced to TP. Meantime, Mawan still having fun with Akali in the early game. Definitely expected for him to get a bit of a lead. And in the top side, we do have Likai getting off to a good start as well. So Kino just flashes in the thumbs up emote. He's likely going to go again for some of these hooks. See if he gets better luck this time.
Yeah, and now Atlan returns to lane with pretty much what he started the game with. 2 potions and a Doran's ring, but he is going to be missing that teleport. So if he gets hard punished again, then he's going to be running into some issues. In this mid lane, G-Man, as expected, is just kind of getting poked out non-stop. It's just a matter of getting to that level 6, building enough sustain, and also just having that extra kill threat. And then once Gemini also hits level 6, like, Mawan doesn't really get to play the game at that point because of how much execute damage is on both of these champs.
Yeah, Sonic Wave plus the perfect execution. Does seem like a pretty deadly combo. We'll see how Mawan can survive that. Meanwhile, in the bottom side, we have Atlan and Koala playing extremely safe. They've already lost the TP. They know that Husha is in the vicinity. They did spot him out. We have pings on the Krugs as well. So I don't expect the ganks to work here. They might be willing to drop some CS, but they should not die to this one. Meanwhile, taking a look at the top lane, Liang's actually just bouncing back perfectly fine here. Was down by quite a bit of CS, but afterwards is he's still holding steady, and that's kind of bad news for the Jace. You usually want the Jace to be further ahead than this.
again, that kind of just funnels to how hard it is to punish a champion like the Tahm Kench here because of how durable he is, how much regen he has, and also just the anti-burst power he has with, of course, the great health. Maybe we'll see Lee Kai rush an early Serpent's Fang as a result. Get that extra shred on shielding, and Gemini is going to pay a visit
come in
here.
just to push the wave out a little bit as Husha starts to open up onto him. Just trying to protect his mid laner, and probably don't want to go back on 5, rather stay around for 6.
He's going to lose a camp because of that, so some ramifications coming out as Machi tried to reset the wave. They're going to go for one more wave, but now Husha, he's going to try and capitalize.
Yeah, Husha, if he lands his W, he can follow up directly with the Audacious Charge. G-Man does hit level 6. The W goes wide, but in comes Liang. Tahm Kench does find the initial bounce onto G-Man, but not enough damage to actually kill him. Very risky play that does end up paying off, actually, for Machi.
They burn the flash onto the jungler, so they get that advantage for themselves. They also pull attention away. As Kino tries to freeze a wave, and, well...
He wasn't even really trying that much, I feel like. He just rounded the corner and, like, oops.
He was a little bit hopeful.
Oh. Yeah, I think way too hopeful is the correct way to put that, as Koala might die here. First blood! Oh!
Okay.
Oh no. Can Ali get out of here? He doesn't have a flash, and Liang is coming in. It's actually going to be Maoan, the root from Dago, and down goes Machi's bot lane. Kino gave them a lot of hope, but that's, you know, they kind of choked on the copium.
Breathed a little bit too much of it there. I don't think it was copium, it was definitely more hopium there. And yeah,
it was hopium.
They fluffed. They definitely fluffed this execution. Kino goes just far enough, apparently, as he is able to drop the ignite, finish off the kill. Then Atlan, well, I mean, if you flash forward, no mana, doesn't leave you a lot of options trying to disengage out of that situation. So he has no other choice but to die there. And now just going back along the scoreboard, there's a big lead in this mid lane for Maoan. It's just a matter of how long can he hold on to the lead and how hard can he stretch this lead against an Akali pick.
Despite how bad the matchup is in terms of like solo queue stats, we haven't seen it in the PCS. Like, Ophelia seems completely fine as Liang is about to get the Devour onto Lee Kai. Lee Kai already underneath his own tower will still get gobbled up. Lee Kai down to less than 200 HP. But Liang doesn't have any more chase tools yet, and that's just the power of the Tahm Kench. He gets into melee range, he will smack you around.
No Trundle to take away those stats here as he absolutely bullies out Lee Kai. Lee Kai will have a little bit better scaling, at least in a different manner that a Tahm Kench provides here. Being able to just get access to the backline without really trying, as long as he is able to find those set-related shockwave blasts. And now for the side of Machi, they've drawn everyone up here. And they do have, again, that really nice terrain control you get from a Ziggs to deter them from collapsing it.
You have Kuno coming in from one side, Death Charge already down. Moonlight Vigil doesn't land, but it doesn't matter. Koala should be going down. He does get a Zenith Blade onto the front line, though, and is able to get quite far away. Husha with a great disengage onto Jimian. Fortunately, Akali is not able to get a kill, and only Koala dies. Machi walk away, I believe, with the Herald here for one death on their side.
It's pretty much, yeah, it's essentially a 1-for-1 if Machi are able to get 2 plates off of it, because that's about the same amount of gold you're getting. And, well, the side of Mega Bank Beyond Gaming, they don't try and further that lead by trying to start out the Inferno Dragon. They are going to leave it up for a later play, which I would assume is coming sooner rather than later. as teleport advantage is up in that top side.
We're gonna take another look at this play right here. Initial abilities kind of missing in from Dago, and does buy Machi a lot of time, but the crucial thing is look at Husha and his disengage onto Jimmy, and Dago is so incredibly safe with that staggering blow and the Xin Zhao just stepping right on top of him, so no chances for Jimmy, and that's really quite painful for the Akali. You have a terrible laning phase, and if you don't snowball early, you are going to stay in that power trough.
Yeah, it's really about those first 2 team fights, being able to assassinate one of these backline targets. But unfortunately in that fight, because they were able to delete Koala so quickly early on, they don't have to worry about any other tank encroaching on their position. So they were able to just allocate 4 members to get rid of this Akali. That means Akali has to back off, hang out in her shroud, and hope that they...
Liang misses everything and does allow Li Kai to just open up onto him. Li Kai trying to figure out if this is actually some sort of a bait. He's actually not going to chase Liang. He's like, okay, there's no way Liang is actually playing this trade this poorly. So he keeps his distance.
He's not this dumb. There's no
well, pretty good front by Liang. Pretty good front. I would have been a little bit doubtful as well. Like, if you look at what Li Kai is doing here, he definitely just assumes that the jungler is near, but Liang is going to chase him down. It should be able to get anything.
Well, still burns a lot of health and also delays the recall coming in from Li Kai. That's just the power of Tahm Kench with just steel cap boots. If you're able to get a nice juicy trade like that and then pull over towards the honey through, it's just such a massive win. And it looks like Mega Bank Beyond Gaming are very, very comfortable with their position right now. Have plenty of scaling, but Gemini trying to close the gap on Tamala. And again, like, there's a lot of execution power in this mid-jungle 2v2, but that's only if they get onto you.
Yep, just a little bit short on the Sonic wave here, and still no takedowns coming in for Jimian. He's still getting checked out in this lane, and I feel like Mega Bank Beyond Gaming are very happy with the game state. Keep on going into lane, Machi. They need a big play somewhere and out-execute to come back into this one, and maybe they're going to find it against Liang. Gemini is the back going to come in time. It actually does come back in time, so Liang, let's see if he decides to TP. We'll pop it onto a tower, and we have Husha rotating towards the top lane as well, so it's a little bit of gold going over to Gemini. But that will be all.
Yeah, not exactly the best target to get it on as well in that case. It does go into the hands of the Lee Sin. Lee Sin doesn't exactly scale as well as something like a Jace. And, well, Mega Bank Beyond Gaming still very comfortable. 2,000 gold lead, 13 minutes into the game. We're looking at a Mountain Dragon for our next Dragon. That should be the next point of contention from both of these teams. Unless if they do want to get a little bit feisty here and use their teleports to try and collapse onto an overextended member. As Koala, he is searching.
Yeah, really good defend from Kino there. You can see him holding his ground in the inner tri-brush. If we look at the map, Beyond Gaming has a massive advantage in terms of vision around this quadrant of the river, double pinks, 2 backline TP wards available for Maoan in this case, but not Liang. And we'll see if Jimian can find anything. Husha is very aware that there could be an assassin in his jungle. He's going to pop the sweeper right away. Not going to fall to anything. And Machi, you know, they hang on throughout the tower plate phase. About 2,000 gold behind. That's still within striking distance if they get a good team fight, but they need to start getting these kills quick, and Doggo already with the Immortal Shield Bow is going to make that difficult.
Shield Bow going to provide a lot of sustained power, allow him to take some of that poke damage coming in from Atlan as well. Also prevent the execution factor from being too big of an issue. That being said, he is going to have some minions nearby when it comes to some of these siege scenarios or objective scenarios, just so he's able to lifesteal if he takes too much.
Taco does have to grab at him. Is going to open up onto Koala.
Good satchel.
The great satchel charge stops anything from going on. Really nicely done coming in from Atlan. And I'm kind of surprised by how slow this game really is. Machi finally looking for an opportunity to snowball things. They will start up on Husha, but Husha sidestep and flashes away to dodge the combo. Very possible that he would have died right there if any one of those abilities landed. Just going to make sure he's safe and deny the opportunity for Machi to find a pick.
And Machi are one of those teams that, because they like the 1-3-1, they're a little bit slower when it comes to getting out the gates.
But does get tagged down, but a great flash. Gemini doesn't get the kickback.
Wait,
and now Mao stands his ground inside the ramp. Husha does tag Gemini, not able to get the second audacious charge. Jimin already pops both uses of perfect execution, and Maoan finds the return kill right here. It's 1 for 1, both junglers going down, but Liab can pick up the pieces. Double kill for Maoan, one more tongue lash, doesn't land, but he still has the abyssal dive. Finds Lee Kai, gets very close to him, hook goes down, and that's going to be 3 kills on the side of Megabank Beyond Gaming. Traded back for only 1 on Husha.
Side of Machi, they're behind, yet they try and look for that Herald play. It was really poorly executed there, as it doesn't even take the flash from Mon. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's just able to get around, and it's just a complete whiff of execution coming in from Gemini. Something we don't say that much, as usually he's the player that is most on point to try and facilitate these solo laners. That's going to cost him, Jimian, and Lee Kai their lives.
Even with some great plays as well, the Death Charge actually stops the second proc of the Sonic Wave from Gemini and causing a lot of extra time. So right now, Megabank Beyond Gaming off to a dominant lead, 4,000 gold. No one is picking up the Herald just yet, but it seems like Beyond Gaming are going to change that. No contest on the side of Machi, and throughout all of this, only 1 takedown on Jimian doesn't feel like it's enough to get the Assassin's Code.
Yeah, definitely doesn't feel like it's enough here. And because of how late Machi prioritized the dragons, whether it's starting out that first one or just obtaining the second one, it gives Megabank Beyond Gaming a lot of space to scale. They are going to be able to get all those items that you want onto the Orianna. We talked about in the previous game, like, you need 2 or 3 items onto this champion before she becomes super effective. But it looks like she's already getting to that point.
Is going to get tagged up. Husha goes right in, just forcing away Jimian from the tower. I feel like Machi have to make a stand at some point. Just can't keep losing ground here. Let's see if Machi finds the engage. Seventh Blade goes a bit wide, doesn't find Maoan. Megabank get the second charge without any trouble here. Now rotating toward the mid lane. We do have Gemini coming in for a wrap, but can he dodge out on all the vision? That's going to be a big question. Jimian also starting this fight at half HP. Ooh, it just looks like Machi can't find a way into Megabank Beyond's backline.
Beyond Gaming, they're just playing super safe here, making sure that they don't overstep their bounds like we've seen a couple other times, such as Impunity today, where they do have the better scaling composition, and it's really on them to take the game a little bit slower, make sure they ensure
Gemini from the sides. Fight. Oh, the Beyond Gaming fans are everywhere. They block the Sonic Wave, and again, no luck for Machi. It's going to get so incredibly hard. Their TPs are on their solo lanes, but their main initiation is going to come from Gemini. So he's not going to have any chance to do the wrap. You can tell Beyond Gaming, they're setting up great vision surround on these sieges as well. There's really no blind spots for Gemini to utilize.
Yep. And the big thing is, well, at the very least, they are able to burn the cleanse on Doggo. However, what it does mean is that they have to go straight back on cooldown to try and lock him down once more, because the cleanse is such a short cooldown when it comes to summoner spell. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Jimian going in directly onto Mawan, gets the flash, but that will be all. As Atlan also just tries to throw in some finishing touches there. Yeah, I like the play, doesn't find it. And now BYG, knowing that Jimian doesn't really have that much damage off, is just going to march in, as we do have Hujia taking a tower shot, but he's completely fine. Koala going down in, TP forced, and yeah, nothing happens.
Ends up being a 4v4 down in the spot side. Everyone just kind of staring each other down. No objective up available. It's just all for that bot lane tower. 80 seconds until Ocean Dragon. And Megabank Beyond Gaming, they've just not been behind at all. As you can see from the 10-minute mark, it's just been up and up from there. They'll look to just kind of take things slow still. They can afford to be slow and steady, as there's just been not a whole lot of focus on these dragons. And that means they're going to have more than enough opportunity to dictate what kind of fight they want.
If the game state continues like this, is there ever a time where you just go, well, BYG's got just way too much scaling and the game's over? Like, we don't really even have to think about what's going to happen in the game next. Would you say like 30 minutes, 35? Like, what are we looking at as the exact time of death for Machi?
Oh man, that's... let's say... I feel like the time of death is coming sooner rather than later, because you look at Doggo, he's looking to get a Wit's End. Like, once you get that Wit's End, how do you kill this Aphelios with the magic damage from Ziggs and Akali overlapping? And try and find a hook on Atlan. That was a hook that I had PTSD about.
Yeah, that looked a little bit dicey coming in from Kino. May I suggest natural expiration? I mean, Doggo has lived for 200 years, given his colorless pick. As Koala is going to force the issue. Kino, they're going in, but not full committing just yet. We have some poke from Lee Kai, it does nothing. Ugh, looks so difficult. Jimian is spotted out with this pink ward. Kino once again goes in, and we do have TK committing as well. This will leave the bot lane open here. Jimian goes in and does find Maoan. Jimian with the assassin play gets a double kill. That will force the issue, and they do find the Ocean Drake afterward. Lee Kai opening up, but Doggo is still alive. He takes the Sonic Wave, and he goes down just like that. Liang is trying to scurry away from the action, but he's flashing towards the wrong side of the map. There's nowhere for you to go, Toad. Where are you going? Come back.
Trying to burn as much time as possible. He should eventually go down.
Atlas says hello, misses everything. Liang doesn't find the brush and will die here. Lee Kai picks up the kill.
And while they do get escorted straight to the Baron, unfortunately Atlan's burned too much of his mana bar that they can't turn onto that objective right after. And this was one of the concerns, is when you're fighting in these choke points, both of these teams have great choke damage when it comes to try and push and force your way through these ramp areas. And it really just comes down to getting chipped down by the dragon. They end up overextending just ever so slight, and now the damage pours in. Jimian, he gets a perfect angle, eliminates Mawan early on, and well, that's really all your defense for your Aphelios, because again, he doesn't have the Thresh. He has a Leona, or he has a Nautilus trying to protect him, and Nautilus is just not good at that.
That was so beautiful from Jimian. He watches as the cooldowns are used by both Liang and Kino, and he immediately just goes into the backline. It's like, well, you guys try to catch me out. You have no damage in this position. Your backline is now dead. Thank you very much. And I even said during the fight, it's like, I feel like Liang's going in too far. He really should be staying on Doggo and just using his Devour rather than trying to kill a Kali. That was a bit of an overforce for Beyond Gaming. They still have the lead, but Machi see signs of life right now. They see the light at the end of the tunnel. And G-Man with a couple of kills in his pocket did get a double right there. Probably has even more chances to get the snipe off kill. See if he finds his way into the backline as this fight looks like it's about to erupt anytime. Kino throws out the hook, doesn't get it to land. Yep, and Husha, this is a good find as he opens up on G-Man, forces away the shuriken flip. And Gemini now is the one hunting for the kill onto Dago. Machi definitely want to use this opportunity. There are no summoners on Dago. So it looks like they will be charging forward. Jimian starting things off with a bit of poke damage onto Liang. This is NA Ram at its best. I do think Beyond Gaming should just be trying to move into the left side of the river. Kino going to flash in. He does find the root down onto Likai, but pulls the composition a bit too far away and takes way more damage than he gives out. Now we do have Gemini in, but he only kicks Husha into the wall. So not the best attempt there with the Dragon's Rage, and Beyond Gaming get bailed out.
He wanted to get the execute onto Kino. However, even if he were, that is only the support. Teleport's raiding in though, as it is going to be a Baron fight. They're going to try and defend, push them off of this objective, but it's just way too much damage. That's secured. Now G-Man's in trouble.
Yeah, G-Man has to run out, does use the ultimate. He will be fine for now. Very close call from, honestly, just both sides right there. As we did say Husha actually missed Smite. But we're going to go back again into this play, see what really went wrong for Machi.
No goes in. It seems like it was going a little bit too far out, but when you do have this sort of composition coming in from Machi, you can't play the standard front to back. You have to take a lot of these flank angles, and Mega Man Beyond Gaming, they were just fully aware this time around. They have Liang prepared to peel for the backline this time around. And because of that, G-Man, he doesn't get the license to kill. And all he can do is just watch Gemini help himself to his death.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate from Gemini, the veteran of Machi. Just doesn't find the angle right there. Definitely don't think he wanted to kick Husha even, so we do have Beyond Gaming coming back into live gameplay with the Baron buff in hand. Should allow them to set up sieges. Do have a big 3-man stack in the mid lane right now. And Liang is going to be completely unopposed as he makes his way ever closer into Machi's base.
Yeah, and looking up and down the items right now here, Liang just an absolute stat stick here. He's got 2 completed items, one of them being that Thorn Mail, going to be able to tank up so much of these accelerated shock blasts. Likai has the completed Serpent's Fang, which is going to help a little bit because of how many shields there are in this BYG composition. However, it just means that if he tries to ever poke down this Tahm Kench, it's never going to happen. He doesn't have that Last Whisper item built up. Then just for the rest of Machi, you have Gore Drinker Sterix, so Gemini is tanky, but that's really all he is. He doesn't bring a whole lot of damage here. He brings sustain, but there's so much DPS on BYG, it's not going to last very long regardless. And G-Man got the Rocket Belt to try and go for an execute, and the Zanyas, but he needs more. He needs at least the 3rd item, that completed Void Staff, to even think about getting an execute, especially on Dago.
And it seems like he's going to be going for the Banshees first, so he has to block out something most likely from Kino at this point. Can't even go for the... oh, actually, he is switching up builds. Oh, okay, good call there. You actually knew the build better than Jimian himself. Is going to go for the Blighted Jewel instead, which is what you wanted to see, going to the Void Staff. So good call there from Nightstar. And it looks like Beyond Gaming, they are going to get a wrap on Jimian. Already 3 towers going down in this single Baron buff. Jimian pops the first use of ult, and then gets out with the perfect execution. Knows that he was surrounded. You can probably tell just with Liang showing up that there was more members from Beyond Gaming coming up. And this is the do or die push. It's going to be hard for Gemini to find flanking angles. He's trying really hard around this corridor, but Liang and Kino, they know their jobs at this point. They're just taking everything up, making sure Doggo doesn't die, and if they hold their formation, I don't see Machi winning this. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult for Machi to win a fight. Fortunately for them, though, if Mega Bank Beyond Gaming don't have the Baron buff, it's very difficult for them to actually siege because of how much wave clear is on, of course, the Ziggs, but also on this, on the Jace pick. So they're going to be comfortable in slowing the game down. But as we mentioned time and time again before, like, it's getting life's getting harder for your Kali. Life is already impossibly difficult for your Lee Sin, and your composition. It's just so much easier for the side of Beyond Gaming to play against your composition on the side of Machi.
I feel like once the GA or equivalent item is completed by Doggo, it's pretty much just lights out. It's so hard to kill Doggo twice when he has Devour protecting him, when he has the command Protect coming in from Mawan as well. So we'll see what Machi can do. They don't have any side lane control. They are forced into straight 5v5s. Gemini might be testing his chances against Kino, but Kino definitely the tankier of the two as we see the Shockwave being used. Gemini gets out just okay though, but Doggo has his eyes on Atlan and forces the flash. Kino again flashing in onto Likai. We have the ultimate coming down, but what is TT going to do? Jimian in the middle of the enemy team composition. He barely gets out, but that's the Ignite being used on him. He goes back again, does not find Doggo. Aphelios is still firing upon them with nothing to hold him back. Liang gonna go in, doesn't yet find the Devour just yet, but that's a lot of flashes burned from Machi.
A lot of flashes burned, and now looks like the side of Mega Bank Beyond Gaming are turning their attention towards this Baron setup. Of course, it's not quite up yet. 20 seconds until that actually spawns. But now you're able to strip away some camps, set up the vision, and then when it does spawn, make sure that they don't get a very easy route in. However, with Dragon also up in 90 seconds, that might prompt them to look for a reset rather than commitment over to the Purple Worm.
We'll see which one they choose. So far, it looks like Beyond Gaming are sticking towards the top side of the map. Key thing for Machi here is definitely going to be flanking wards. They need to find a good angle in. They're lacking TPs at this point from Jimian. And yeah, they've managed to get 0 wards into the river and beyond. So, good luck, Machi. Good luck. We'll see what they can do, what magic Jimian can pull out of his hat. But at this point, the Baron is up. Beyond Gaming's already on the objective, and they're starting it right in front of you. So, how is Machi going to approach this? Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely very difficult, but again, when you're stuck in the pit here, it could offer some good opportunities.
Kino does find the engage into the Shockwave onto Atlan, and Atlan just disappears. No damage being done by him whatsoever. That's a great 5-man kick coming in from Gemini, but it's not enough. No damage sticking onto Doggo. Liang still battering ahead. That's going to be 2 kills on the front line. Jimian left hit by himself. 1v4 in the enemy team. Not much that he can do, and Beyond Gaming are marching towards the victory.
They're just going to run straight bottom here. I don't know if they can just finish the game straight up, but you do have Aphelios, who is incredibly powerful, and you have more than enough of a wave to do so. So it just comes down to Jimian and Gemini. If they can cut the wave, or if they can kill Doggo, that is your only condition in stopping this game.
Kino even finds Jimian when he tries to go in. On the other hand, Gemini,
Mawan's very low,
takes a huge chunk of damage onto Mawan, pops him into the Zanyas, and they will stay alive. Atlan coming out and resurrecting at the right time. Usha now in a lot of trouble. He doesn't go down though, so as the Zanyas and Gemini might be faded. Jimian is dead, and that is no one left to defend the base. Atlan has to do it himself. 3 members still there. Finally, Beyond are going to call it quits here. They found the inhibitor. They are turning back towards the Baron instead.
I would assume they try and get both objectives here, as they are sending Mawan towards this bottom lane. Please do the dragon. please. Mawan. As we're going to see the replay, it is going to be Mega Inferno Bomb getting the vision. But because of that, Atlan actually walks too far forward, eats the hook straight into the shockwave, and it's just such an easy pick. That's the big pick that they're looking for, because that's so much of that DPS threat coming in from Machi. The rest of the DPS threats are very contingent on certain conditions, like G-Man being able to execute someone into the backline, or Likai being very cooldown reliant on that accelerated shock blast. So that just opens up the fight so easily for Megabank Beyond Gaming there, as they are indeed able to get all of the objectives. They get Dragon, they get Baron, and now they're looking to get the game and get that second seed.
Machi, they do have 2 kills onto G-Man, but for his standards, this is such a quiet game for his Akali. We haven't seen just any ability to impact the bottom side of Beyond Gaming so far. They only lose that one team fight throughout the entire game. Been staying on top throughout everything. And once again, we are going into sort of end game setup where it's all going to be about the flanks. Gemini had a massive Dragon's Rage in that corridor earlier on, but they just don't have the damage to finish off. Like, Likai, he has some poke damage, but most of it is going onto Liang, and that's just so ineffective against his composition. Finally, the big death ball push is coming. Beyond Gaming going to go through the unguarded inhibitor. Liang just going to fight straight in. Has no regard for Machi. And the solar flare does land. We see Doggo being taken down to about 3/4 HP, but it doesn't really matter. Gemini trying to get the quick back. He only finds the target onto, I think, Kino, and that's not enough. Doggo's still staying very healthy right here. They do get the support in the end, but that doesn't really matter at this point. Beyond Gaming are just going to continue to march on. Doggo opening up onto the Nexus. Machi, you have to go out of your base and try to all in onto this one. There's some damage being taken down, but Doggo stays alive, flashes the PSG emote like he loves to do this split. And Megabank Beyond Gaming march on forward to an unopposed second place.
They're going to be able to secure that second seed, which means first week is going to be a nice relaxing week for them. Sit back, relax, and the more important thing is when you do secure one of those top 2 seeds, it means you only need 1 victory to put yourself into the upper bracket final, which gives you 2 lives to get to Worlds.
Yeah, and remember, the 2 teams that go into the finals, not like the winners bracket finals, but the actual finals. Yeah, the grand finals, both of them will head on to Worlds. So increasing your chances for scouting, getting closer to that, definitely the goal right here. I feel like this game was... I was a little bit disappointed by what Machi gave us, because it was a very similar game to what we saw in the regular season. Just Machi losing lane early and then trying to come back with a special pick that never really happens, and then Beyond Gaming just kind of walks over them with a superior laning phase, superior team fight. 1 mishap, and that was it.
Yeah, it was just one of those compositions that it requires you to be unreal in your execution, and if this composition succeeded, it would have been a very flashy way that they win the game. Just like how the one fight that they did get was very explosive, definitely highlight reel, but they needed multiple of those. They needed time and time again, just non-stop highlight reel plays, and that just couldn't happen against a Tahm Kench and against this Orianna, who was able to get out of lane scot-free and get her items that she needed to get in order to become that secondary threat.
Yeah, it didn't really go well, and it wasn't a subtle draft from Megabank Beyond Gaming at all. It was Aphelios first pick, Mawan on Orianna second pick. We're going for this comp. We don't care what you think about us. You know, you have bot lane counters? Okay, I'd like to see them. Didn't matter. You still got summoner advantages starting from level 2. So, yeah. You know, I think we're... Yeah, it's just... It's not really... and I'm surprised that Machi didn't, you know, try to counter a little bit more onto the top side. They flashed a blind Jace, and I was... They even had to ban for it, and they still had the Tahm Kench matchup.
Yeah, they still had to deal with the Tom Kench matchup. What was really more baffling was the fact that we ended up on an Akali pick. There was definitely the option to go for something like like the Lucian that I mentioned before that can really get priority in lane as well as a provide kill threat. And then you just kind of go around with the Lee Sin to try and apply pressure elsewhere. But they didn't go for it. They went for the Akali pick. They wanted to go for those really explosive first two team fights instead of the more consistent damage that a Lucian might bring to the table. And as a result, you saw it reflected in the build path from Dago. He went for a second item Wit's End. That pretty much nullified the impact coming in from both the Akali and the Ziggs. It was just too easy for Dago.
Yeah, really wasn't touched throughout this entire time. We saw multiple attempts for Gemini kicks, but he got Husha once and he got Kito the second time, so didn't really have the impact that he wanted for. Yeah, we got him. Can we call it mission success and just sail back home? I'm just kidding. You're actually still going to be in the Middle East for 20 years. I'm just kidding. That's my sadness as an American. As we come into the MVP, Liang is going to get that one. 1-1-5. I think not really the MVP we expected, but the entire team of Mega Bank Beyond Gaming played so well that I feel like it's really hard to pick one individual member.
It was really just a team effort there. Because of the fact that, I mean, you have to just provide so much attention when there is an assassin over on the other side of the map in that Akali, of course, and also just champs that need flank angles like that Lee Sin. So they were really just able to keep their eyes open, make sure that when those champs appeared on the flanks, that they allocated saved cooldowns for those two champs.
And now we're going to have a look at the final standings. This is already ranked from top to bottom. Our 8 teams going into the playoffs are going to be PSG Talon, Mega Bank Beyond Gaming, Machi, Boom, Taipei J-Team, Hong Kong Attitude, Berjaya, and Liab. Unfortunately for Impunity and Alpha Esports, they will have to try again later. And, looking holistically, we only have one change in terms of who made it to playoffs compared to summer and spring split. And it will be Liab actually taking away the spot from Impunity. They did it on the final day with the tiebreaker, so congratulations to them. Elsewhere on the standings, the only really big change is Boom Esports and Hong Kong Attitude making it up the standings compared to spring split. So holistically, you do have to say HKA and Boom Esports, their roster changes did pay off. They do find themselves in much stronger positions. Hopefully, they can do a little bit better. We will be going into the playoffs just 4 days away. Today is Father's Day in East Asia. After a little while, we are going to start off with Boom Esports versus J-Team and Machi Esports versus Hong Kong Attitude. Just a reminder, the first round of the playoffs and the first round of the losers brackets will be played in best of 3s. The remainders will be in best of 5. So we will have 2 series in a day. Don't think that they're going to be separate days, okay? So mark the teams that you want to watch. Be sure to catch up for you Liab fans out there. They will be playing on the 13th.
Laying it out there already. I will be casting the Liab one, so I'm very thankful that my Liab fandom will put me on that broadcast. But you're gonna have a very hotly contested day one with Boom taking on J-Team and Machi taking on Hong Kong Attitude. Yes, Hong Kong Attitude, if you look at their record, is vastly lower than Machi's. But with the growth of Hong Kong Attitude and because of how slow Machi like to take their early game, I feel like this matchup isn't all far out of hand for Hong Kong Attitude to pull an upset.
I have to agree with you. Stylistically, it's actually somewhat easy to see Hong Kong Attitude being able to survive and maybe take a game off of Machi. I still see Machi as the overwhelming favorite right here. But yeah, that one's going to be very, very interesting. So you have, in terms of your upset box, Hong Kong Attitude maybe, or you think maybe just one game?
I would definitely give them a game, and it's, while difficult for them to take the series, if Machi continue to play this slow and Hong Kong Attitude keep getting things like a Gwen or Diana for a Kongrye in this matchup, and he gets to 3-4 items, this is a very, very terrifying matchup for the side of Machi to close out.
Yeah, that could look incredibly dangerous. That's all the time we do have for now. Thank you everyone for being with us on the summer split. You know, it's been terrific to have all you brand new casters coming in. Pyra, of course, an old hand, but Nightstar definitely someone new we have on our team. And congratulations to Liab, the new addition to our playoff roster here. This has been the Pacific Championship Series summer split for 2021. The regular season is now in the books, but please wait on for playoffs. We are starting on August 12th, so put that in your schedules. Make a reminder for that one. We will see you back in the postseason.